kids in the house, in a Muslim
Mm.
home.
Is it a cat?
Yeah, the cat is the dogs. We allowed to have it, but you got to keep them outside.
Mm.
But cats are considered clean, you know.
That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Something to do with the paw, right? I mean, the cloven hoof is a thing for
They
the
say
Jews.
the angels can't come in if the dog is in the house. I don't
What?
know.
The angels can't come when the dog is in the house?
Yeah, because the guy's considered, it's considered dirty. I don't know.
Where's Tiberius at, man?
Yeah, backward. So anyway, we on or not yet?
We're gonna start in 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. So I'm already streaming, so
That's fine.
you know.
I was gonna give Tiberius 2 minutes,
So
and then we'll kick it off.
the topic tonight is Iran, the fall of Iran, right?
The fall of Iran. We're gonna talk about some things. It's gonna be exciting. Y'all think that was a nuclear test, or you think it was just an earthquake?
What test?
The alleged earthquake nuclear test.
Oh, they did. I don't know. I didn't read about it. They have it, but they don't have the delivery yet. It takes a long time. It's all BS. Let's save it for the show.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Yeah, it's all BS.
All right, we'll just go ahead and start. When Tiberius gets here, he can join us.
He's at McDonald's eating. Okay.
It says he's going live here.
Yeah.
It says he's playing a game. Okay, fuck it. YOLO. We'll just start without him. I don't need him. All right, welcome everybody to a Friday edition of Give Me a Break. We're here with the Empowered Man, and we are here with the Average Debate Enjoyer, and possibly Tiberius if he gets done playing Victoria. Priorities. Some people, they want to conquer the world. Other people want to talk about the fall of the world. It's all, you pick which one you want to be, guys. But what we are here today is we're going to talk about Iran and the fall of Iran and what's going on with Iran and all these things. I brought some fantastic opinionated people to discuss it. Let's start with Tyler first. You got something blocking your screen, by the way, Tyler, unless you do. That's fine. Go ahead and start us off and tell us what you do.
That's the camera cap so you guys can't see my fiance scantily dressed going to the bathroom.
Appreciate that. Don't want to get banned.
Well, yeah. Well, as we know, everybody who watches these always knows everything I say is correct, and I'm here to defend Western democracy against the evil, draconian terrorist state that's run by religious extremists.
All right.
Fantastic. We're going to get into it. All right. Mr. Empowered Man, tell us who you are, what you do, and
my name is Omar. I'm a Middle Eastern origin. I have a lot of history background on what's going on. The issue here is not about Western democracy or whatever it is. The issue here is about the monopoly of violence only in Western society's hands, that they could only own nuclear weapons, that they're the only one who are responsible. And historically, they've been the most violent, especially since World War II. All the major wars has happened with Western democracies. In Korea, 2 million people dead. Vietnam, 4 million people dead. Iraq, 1 million people dead. And right now in Gaza, whatever, and in Afghanistan, a couple 100,000 people dead. So what Western society, Western democracy are we talking about? There is no such thing as democracy. It's just a BS.
All right. Fantastic. I'll take that as your opener. Tyler, you want to give an opener and then we'll open it up?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of, my opener is already done. I was just being memeing around.
Well, then fight.
Ah! Well, so you say only Western nations have nuclear weapons, but I just looked that up. China, North Korea, Russia, and Pakistan are all considered Western nations in your mind?
Well, hold on. We're going to continue that 1 second. We got Tiberius in here now.
There it is. Okay.
All right. Sorry about that. All right, yeah, let Tiberius in here. Tell us who you are, what you do, give us your opinion on the fall of Iran and what's going down, and then we're going to get back in. We'll go back to Tyler and let him restate what he was saying, and then we'll go fight. Go ahead.
Sure. First, before I give my opinion, I terribly apologize. I lost track of time. I was actually just streaming, so yeah. Thanks for the reminder.
I was playing Battlefleet Gothic 2, and then I saw he was playing Victoria. I was like, yeah, he's got the strategy brain going on. He's in the zone.
A little bit, yeah. I was kind of feeling today's episode. Look, my opinion on where we are today with Iran. It's been kind of coming, this confrontation. Do I think it's deserved? Not necessarily, but that's nuance and details. Y'all can ask me later. Israel's just going for the throat because they can. This is generally my opinion here, is that Israel and Iran don't get along for a lot of reasons, a lot of valid reasons, and Israel's in a position to do something about it, so they're going to. I don't necessarily have a problem with this, and we've definitely picked our side. So I'm just going to open it with that, and we can go from there.
Okay.
All right, so Tyler, you just said something. I think that go. What did you say? Repeat it if you want to.
Well, so for Omar's opening, getting into the discussion of the democracy part, I don't. That's a kind of a completely different subject. You'll realize Tiberius and I are pretty polite. We'll hear you out and kind of try to address what you're actually saying. So there's no need to get angry or anything throughout the course of this. Like chat's saying, everyone's going to get angry here. We're all fucking adults. So, going into what you said in your opener, I want to go point at the Western nations are the only ones with nukes claim, and China, North Korea, Pakistan, Russia all have nuclear weapons as well. There's a unilateral disarmament issue when it goes on with that, because as soon as one country disarms, obviously, like, you're either giving up your power unless everybody does it equally. It's a very hard thing to do without Superman. That was actually a Superman line of comics. He was going around disarming everybody's nukes. So, that being said, I don't see the claim that the West is the only person we're in charge as accurate. I see it as two big superpowers, one on the East, one on the West, and both of them are opposing each other for legitimate reasons sometimes. Other times it's just disagreements on how to run the world, and we're constantly vying at each other's throat. Like, people talk about the imperialism that went on during the Cold War by the United States, but China and Russia were doing the same thing with the same outlooks in mind. So I see them both as equal players. I just think that our Western system of liberalism is better, personally, and that's why I support it. It's more, I don't want to jump into that whole side subject. But yeah, that's more what I'm addressing. It's more both sides have power, and it's kind of like a back and forth.
Well, I know. Previously, I think Tiberius might even have been here for a couple of these that we had spoke with you, Omar, about like what was going to happen going forward, and you had made some pretty staunch predictions that Israel is going to take a country ass whipping if they got engaged more with Iran. That doesn't seem to be happening. Why do you think that is, Omar?
Okay. First of all, Israel right now is getting help by major countries. Right now, as we speak, they are refueling their planes in the air. Germany, England, the United States. So they're all ganging up on Iran, and you got to find Iran has been isolated for 40 years under sanctions and embargo, and you got to wonder how they build all these weapons. Now, Iran is a vast country; it's almost the size of Western Europe. They do have only missile technology. They're able to hurt Israel. Israel has never been hurt inside its proper Israel, in its cities, in its neighborhoods. They never felt that. They always pick it on Hezbollah or Hamas, who have these weapons. They make these rockets out of sewage pipes. So the whole idea is you cannot defeat Iran. You could shoot all day, hit all day, but you cannot without any boots in the ground. And Israel is not a country that has brave fighters. They're all cowards. The Israeli armies are cowards. And according to them, not according to me, 2006, they said that you could see by how they destroyed Gaza just to avoid street battles. They destroyed the whole city just to avoid fighting face to face with a couple of people in bathing suits. I say bathing, I mean bathroom ropes and homemade weapons. Iran is a country, a seventh century of culture, 7,000 years of culture. It is not just any country. It is not just going to put its hand up because Israel did so. The only reason Israel did that, they are trying to cock the United States into joining the war. And I hope that the president does not bite. Let them fight their own war. They want to play this little game. The whole idea, you have to ask the question, Admiral, is why 7 million Jews in the Middle East are allowed to have 200 nuclear weapon heads, but 2 billion Muslims are not? I know the guy, my friend over there is going to say Pakistan. Pakistan did that secretively because it was under threat from a 1.4 billion people called India. So the whole idea is that look what the demands are. Israel demands no nuclear weapons and no missile technology. In other words, you'll be a BITCH in the Middle East. We have all the weapons. We could do anything we want, but you're not allowed to have weapons or monopoly on violence. This is the problem that we have. I disagree with Iran. They are Shiites. I'm a Sunni Muslim. I disagree with its policies in the Middle East and its destabilization with militias and things of that nature. But right now, we have to be fair. Iran's issue is a Pearl Harbor issue. It was attacked unprovoked while there was negotiation. And to add insult to injury, they even killed the negotiators that were negotiating with the United States. So who are we dealing with? We are dealing with a nation that has killed 20,000 children, but is allowed to have nuclear weapons, has killed more than 10,000 women, but is allowed to have nuclear weapons, has destroyed schools and mosques and churches and hospitals, did everything you can, but is allowed, but it's sane enough to have nuclear weapons. And Iran, who has never bothered anybody, they have never invaded anyone of that sort or committed any large-scale killing like Israel has, they're too dangerous to have weapons because they're Muslims or they're mullahs, whatever you want to call them. Matter of fact, Iran, the word Iran means pure Aryans. They are the pure, they are the real Aryans. They are the cousins of the European Aryans, believe it or not. Go ahead.
So,
Go ahead, Todd.
yeah, I wanted to get in because a lot of the first part of what you were saying when you were laying it down, you said some accurate things. The cowardice claim, I would say cowardice isn't the accurate statement. Look at what happened even in the United States when we had an army that was forced to join through the draft versus a voluntary army. Armies that mandate conscription are generally less ready to fight, less willing to fight, less able to fight, but they just have the numbers, and the reason being is because you're not actually siphoning out the warrior class that wants to, that you're pulling everybody in regardless of how equipped they are or ready they are.
Well, doesn't that back his point though with Israel?
Yeah.
They got.
I just don't like the word coward. Yeah, I just don't. I think that they're just less prepared, and they more cowardly. I would agree with. I just say that they are all cowards. There are still the same, let's say, per capita amount of warriors in Israel as there are in the United States. It's just they're not the bulk of the army because they're.
Hold on, America's got one thing that we do well.
Okay, I'll pick whatever country you want. It's a side point. It's a side point. Pick whatever country you want. So I'm just saying, like, the per capita amount of warriors to Israel versus people in their army is much lower because they're not voluntary conscripted. So that was the only part I took umbrage with in the first part. The second part, where you started talking about Iran being attacked unprovoked, they funded the 6 proxy armies that were attacking Israel from October 7th on. Those are all figures of the hand that is controlled by Iran. They are the people that push for that war. So at the end of the day, if Iran's funding them, pushing them into that war, Iran is responsible, and thus Iran was commanding them, hosting negotiations for them, giving orders to all of them when there was the first ceasefire. Iran put out an order for all of them to stop, and the only group that didn't stop was the IJC inside of Gaza. Every other group stopped firing during that when Iran told them to. They are subject to Iran's authority. Iran is their daddy, and thus Iran is responsible at the end of the day. So they did have some backing to October 7th, thus they must take the hammer.
Let's go to Tiberius. Do you hold on one second? I'll go to you. I'll let Tiberius get in here real quick, and then you can go ahead, Omar. What are your thoughts on this, Tiberius? You've heard both their points here.
I'm distinctly more pro-Israel than I'm pro-Iran in this argument. However, I would love to have a different relationship with the Farsi.
She's a white Aryans.
I guess, like, when it comes down, sure. I don't really care. Like, do they have a rich cultural heritage? Yes. Do they actually know how to administrate and be competent, like, on a civilizational level? Largely, yes. I just hate their government. But it's very clear they've had at one point, a reasonably effective government that happened to vote in people we didn't like, and we threw a fucking fit over it. Was it a mistake? Maybe not. They like, radical leftism is usually not a good competent government, and it will fuck your country up pretty fast. But even without that, we pay dividends for it. We've had a bad relationship with Iran for 40 years. I would rather get along with them than the goddamn Saudis, but Iran needs to, think about whose team they're on, because it'd be one thing if they were like the UAE or the Saudis, who were like trying to make good with us, even though we don't agree on jack shit, versus, all right, they're going to be the biggest pain in the ass for everybody. Okay, you can't get along with your neighbors, fine. You can't get along with us, fine. Who do you get along with? The Russians and the Chinese. I can't take your side. You're on shitheads list number 1.
Okay, you finish?
All right. Oh, well, go ahead.
Well,
Yeah.
what's the name of the brother in the top? I just want to address him by his name.
Just use Tyler. And also the Gaza stuff you brought up. I didn't want to address it. Let's put a pin in it for later in case we get past Iran, start circling the drain. We can come back to Gaza.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to jump.
Yeah, I'm gonna respond to the militias that. First of all, you have to ask yourself why these militias come to place. Hezbollah, there was no Hezbollah before 1982. The group Hezbollah came into being when Israel invaded Lebanon and took over the whole southern part of Lebanon, and they had these ragtag militia, Shia militia, called Hezbollah. Nobody wanted to help them, and Iran saw an opportunity. They're both Shia. They both have the same beliefs. They're both. I'm a Sunni Muslim, by the way. So they had the same belief. They trained them. They gave them weapons, and they made a strong military force. And they actually chased Israel out of southern Lebanon. Hamas, the reason that they are trying to fight for their independence. When you want independence, you'll make a deal with the devil. So it doesn't matter. Let me give you first an idea. Why does Iran support these tentacles throughout the Middle East? It's very simple. If you're a country that is isolated, sanctioned, and embargo, and nobody wants to talk to you or negotiate with you to get out of the situation you're in for the last almost 49 years, what do? You create problems in the neighborhood. So everybody's going to say, "Why are these kids making all these noise?" Well, you got to go to the gang leader over there. Iran was looking for a way to destabilize the region as a cry for help, to bring in people to negotiate and get out of a situation. You have 90 million people who are under sanction, who have great wealth and are able to sell their wealth or benefit. Now, historically, Iran has been a victim of Western exploitation. Let me give you an example. In 1909, oil was discovered by an Englishman who was commissioned by the Farsis at that time. From 1909 to 1951, the British took 84% of the profits of oil, plus their Navy got free oil around the world, which was a superpower at that time. Imagine the exploitation of giving Iran 16% of its wealth until 1951. When they asked for 50-50, they said no. So they had a government, I forgot the prime minister's name, who nationalized the oil and made it Iranian, and who won an election to a democracy in 1952 and 1951. What do we do? The CIA went in there and overthrew them and appointed the Shah of Iran, who was a puppet, who was a king. The Shah of Iran made a deal 50-50 until the deal was going to end in 1979, the contract. He let him know that before 1979, he's not going to renew the deal with it's called the Seven Sisters. These are 7 oil companies that own 50%. So before the sunset on the deal is going to be expired, what they did, they overthrew the Shah. Khomeini, that leader, Ayatollah Khomeini, he came to Iran on an airplane, on a private jet from France. So the whole idea is all about oil and about money, the destabilization of the Farsi people, who are very proud people. The Iranians are a proud people.
Well, so let me ask you this then, Omar. So I one of the ideas that people talk about with like multipolarity is that they're like traditional power polarities, like Persia power polarity. They're one of the poles, right? You have like Europe, and then you have a couple different poles in Europe, like Britain, you have Germany, you have whatever. Russia's a traditional power pole. You have China, traditional power pole, and then you have like in North America, you have America as the new one, right? And so when we're talking about this, why wouldn't a superpower like the U.S. wouldn't they do that though? Like I get the argument from like the honorable moral standpoint, but let's just say from like a practical worldwide standpoint, if you're the superpower, you don't want like one of these people gaining power in the region and then like solidifying it and becoming a challenge to you. Like, so why wouldn't they do that? Like, I don't understand the logic here. Like when people like destabilize a region when it's a traditional power area.
Well, when the Iranians, the mullahs came into power, which was facilitated by Western powers, they put these mullahs in power. When
they fucked up. They put the wrong one in power. It seems
when
like
they thought they were going to get a deal out of them, once they said, "We said we're going to give you a good deal," once they took over, they gave them the middle finger. So in turn, they sanctioned the whole country for 40 years. They're under embargo, economic embargo. You can't sell your oil. The issue here is life and death. And imagine in the 1989, they pushed Iraq under Saddam Hussein to attack Iran. And they did attack, and they had an 8-year war, which almost 1 million Iranians died. We were the United States supporting the Iraqi side and selling under the table weapons, if you ever heard of the Iran-Contra scandal. The whole issue, Iran has been victimized by Western companies, by Western countries, by Western power. Now, look the way they talk to them. They belittle. Trump is going to tweet unconditional surrender. To who? Who are they going to surrender to? To a ghost inside terror? Who? You don't have no people on the ground. Why do you talk to a proud people like that? And second of all, you've been lying to them, negotiating with them for 2 months on purpose. So they let down their guard, and you let your proxy country, your aircraft land carrier called Israel, attack them without on purpose and kill their scientists. Let's look at terrorism. My friend said here that Israel has been killing their scientists since 2010. Imagine a country that comes into the United States and kill our academics, our scientists, not our military people. That shows you how evil.
I can't imagine that because we're the superpower.
Huh?
Like, if someone does that, we're going to go whoop their ass. I mean, that.
No, the target. Look at the target. They are targeting mines, not military. As if they're going to destroy knowledge if they kill a scientist.
Do you think that like in World War II, if they could have killed fucking what's the guy that made the nuke? They just made the movie about him. If they could have killed him, like we know they tried to kill Einstein. Like,
Yeah.
when let's go ahead, Tyler. What you got?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Wick, settle down.
Don't do that. You're gonna trigger people here.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
just asking questions here. We're trying to stimulate
Yeah,
conversation.
I got you. I'm just messing around. So a couple of the points you brought up here. I want to go back to the last one first that you just mentioned because you mentioned it twice. I forgot to address it before. So the reason why there was a negotiation is because Trump gave a 2-month deadline to Iran. On day 61, after that deadline had been set, exactly 2 months later is the first day Israel hit. And we found out that Israel was actually ready to go at the beginning of the 2 months, and Trump asked them to wait for his deadline to be met so that we didn't actually dishonor what we said to them. That came out about last week. So in terms of that, they also the negotiator thing was actually it was deceptive. So if you say it's deceptive, I can't fight you on that. But the reason being is the Trump administration was on board, knew about the attack, and did not want to give it away. So they kept the negotiation meeting on board until about 10 minutes after the negotiator was killed, and then they said negotiations have been paused. But I mean, as for why they're going after scientists, going after nuclear facilities, is Israel has been threatened by Iran's leaders. Every single one of their leaders since 1979, their presidents, the Ayatollah as well, has been since 1939 calling for the complete destruction of their country. So that kind of addresses those to the degree. But going back to what you were saying before, I get what your argument is leading up to it. They feel oppressed, they feel there's a boot on their neck, and they made a deal with the devil. That is the part where I have contention with. As soon as they made that deal with the devil, that's where I start holding them accountable for their actions. The groups they endorse, the same way I would hold, like Hillary Clinton is accountable and the Obama administration is accountable for what happened in Libya because they did that. We're accountable for training Osama bin Laden. This is the same way I hold our leaders accountable as well for mistakes. And I'm an interventionist. I want to go into other countries and make them better economically first and other things. But once you fuck it up, you need to be held accountable. The United States is not impervious to scrutiny. I agree with you. There's some room to push on that. Lastly, going into the economic intervention point that you were making first with Britain. Britain did go in there and economically intervene, and some of these deals were set up rather unfairly. But we did this, and Britain did this around the world. We saw nations like Venezuela nationalize their oil, and after they did something like that, we saw their economy turn out great for a decade and then completely crash. The nations that actually worked with these private companies going in and taking 80% of the revenue, later on they got dropped down to 60%, and later on all their other industries started going up and rising up around this giant economic boom they were having as a result of these oil companies. And we saw their economy stabilize, and a lot of them went from first world nations, I know we're not allowed to say that anymore, to second or third world nations. The Philippines, I was just looking at their development because I was over there recently. Their development, working with the United States since they've got rid of Spanish colonization, has modernized them. Their cities are as great as some of ours in the United States. and some of our cities are kind of run down, so that's not that big of a flex. But one thing you left out of your victimization of Western power is the Cold War era interventions by the Soviets starting in the 40s. That was about a decade before the CIA coup. Russia was intervening in their politics, backing rebels against their government, the Kurdistan issue, as well as I can't say that word, Iranian Azerbaijan, and then as well as
You can say
that
whatever.
is
Azerbaijan?
it. I just don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say that. I didn't want to.
Azerbaijani? Is that it?
Is that it?
Azerbaijani?
I'm
just guessing.
I don't want
That's
to
an area.
butcher.
I'm sure I butchered
It's
it.
disrespectful to butcher things if you don't know how to pronounce them.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm trying to.
I thought you said it's not if they're sensitive. You can say okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just didn't want to butcher it. That's why. So like, and by that point, the Soviets had already been backing rebels inside Iran for almost a decade, and they had some power in the area. So the U.S. intervention, you could argue, happened, but it happened as a result of Eastern powers fighting against Western powers to do this in other countries. It happened in multiple countries, Korea, Vietnam. These two powers were using everyone else's pawns. And it's not good, but it's how it's working.
The U.S. never intervened in the military before the 1950s. Where?
Before the 1950s, I don't. That was when the Cold War era was going on.
That's it.
But no, they were in China. We were in China. We had a military in China before World War II, and there was issues with Japan over that. Plus, the embargo was people. There were people in the United States. It was in The Godfather 1. They were talking about it at the dinner table. There were people in the United States that were saying that because of the oil embargo and our interventions in conflicts between Japan and China, almost justified Japan attacking Pearl Harbor.
True,
because we were involved militarily, but not to the degree we were during the Cold War. That's when it kicked up. And the communist domino effect started before the U.S. intervention was a response to them doing it. So they did it first, meaning by the rules of a 6-year-old, we're not at fault.
Yeah, I understand the Cold War era, but these little countries were eating. They were using the Americans against the Russian, the Russian against the American. It's good to have 2-3 powers, because the small guys could live off them. The whole idea is I'm talking about Russia used to spend more money on their satellite states than they used to take. I'll give you an example. I'm from Yemen. Southern Yemen was under Marxist rule by the Russians. When the Russians left, when the Soviet Union collapsed, they owed them more than $12 billion over the whole time. So Russia was actually losing money with these satellite states. Let's not get into that. You said about the militia that they made a deal with the devil. These people are fighting for their freedom. Hezbollah were fighting to clear off the Israeli off South Lebanon. They have that right under international law, under any law, that they have to expel somebody who's on their land. Hamas has the same issue. They're trying to expel the Israeli occupation from Gaza, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem. What else is there? So most of these people needed help, and they're fighting a righteous fight. Even Yemen, the Houthis, who we brought into power, by the way, the United States, what was their demand when they were bombing? Their demand was to stop the genocide and let food in. They said, you let food in, and we're going to stop throwing these crazy rockets at you away from Yemen. Hezbollah said the same thing. They said, let the people eat and stop the genocide, and we stop. So the whole idea is we say, no, we're going to continue to do what we want. We're going to kill the kids. We're going to kill the women. We are here. We're going to expel these people out of their land. They are in the wrong. Stop supporting Israeli terrorism. Israel is a terrorist state. It is an artificial state, and it will eventually collapse. I guarantee that. The only thing is, when it collapses, who's going to run and take all the nuclear weapons they have before they fall into the hand of other people? Because it cannot exist. You cannot kill yourself into existence. You can't kill your neighbors and want to live in the same neighborhood. Like Yusuf Bassam said, Israel torches everybody's house in the neighborhood, and it's upset why they don't invite him to a block party. It's the same thing. Israel only knows violence. It was founded on violence and thievery and trickery and assassinations and ethnic cleansings from the 1920s upward.
You agree with that assessment, Tiberius?
Huh?
Yeah, sorry about that. Let me buy into everything you're saying, right? Let me buy into this idea that Israel is founded from violence and needs to basically is going to propagate itself through violence. and it has stolen all their land and yada yada yada. Well, here's the issue. By that metric, all of their allies are supposedly guilty of the same thing, right? Like the United States is, and all the Americans here, we're all on stolen land and shit.
Okay.
Right. So, like, if that's actually the case, why do you expect that we're not going to be friends with them?
I have an answer. The United States did not take North America. The British did. They said it's two different people.
Well,
With the United States,
Manifest Destiny might disagree.
yeah, but when we came into North America, where we are right now, you had people running around naked and chasing buffaloes all over the place. They had no country, no constitutions. They had no street. They had no cities. They had no doctors, nurses, teachers. They had nothing. They was just running around naked. The Palestine was a state for hundreds of years, since the days of the Crusades. Streets, churches, mosques, Jews and Christians living in harmony together. I have movies. I send them to you. A documentary from the 1930s and 1920s. So you cannot compare that, because the whole mantra for the Israeli Zionists who came from Eastern Europe was a people without a land. No, what was it? A land without a people, with a people without a land. No, there's people there. You landed on them, like the Malcolm X said, we didn't land on Pelham Rock landed on us.
Well,
the whole idea.
I got two thoughts here. Sorry.
See, Israel has a problem. The problem is Zionism is failing. And why is it failing? You can ask me. After 120 years of Zionism, the population of Palestine and Israel is 7.3 million Arabs and 7.3 million Jews. So they're not able to get that majority they needed. And they cannot maintain it even if they have it, because they're not having, their birth rates are low. Now they have, what we're going to do, you have 5 million Palestinians outside of proper Israel, the West Bank and Gaza. We need to do something. October 7 gave them that opportunity to get rid of 2 million so they could help their demographic issues. This is the problem. Israel, if it maintains itself as it is, it's an apartheid state, because it doesn't want to give the vote to the West Bank and Gaza. And it doesn't want to give them a state. So what are we going to do? Are they going to kill them all, expel them? This is the problem. It's a dilemma, because it's a matter of life and death for Israel right now, because they cannot survive as a Jewish state demographically if they maintain these two areas under their control. Go ahead.
So what were you saying there? You had something you wanted to interject.
Well, I forgot what I was originally going to interject, but I'll definitely follow up with this. Yeah. When it comes to where we are with Israel right now, it's like if we consider Palestine its own individual entity, right, or Hamas is its own individual entity, in a confrontation for Israel, and they have the same mutual war goal, which is, basically full conquest of a general area. This is a one-sided fight. So we can pick sides, right? But it's clear Israel is winning this fight, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
So
they don't have no business.
Yeah, so the question is, do we throw in with the losers because of some moral issue, or do we throw in with the winners because we morally agree with them?
Which losers, the Palestinians or the Iranians? We need to know. Who's talking, Taylor or Cyprus?
Oh, well, I mean, both are potentially possible, but I was more talking about the Palestinians in this regard. Because, there's a radical wing of the Democratic Party that absolutely wants to side in with, the Palestinians on this issue.
No, they don't.
It's a rare group. They're kind of nuts, but the Democratic Party's never going to sign off on this shit because
it's mega right-wing Republicans who don't want to give their money or blood to Israel. Go ahead.
Well, there's a few people like that.
Yeah, there's definitely the people like that in the right as well. Sure.
Yeah. Because Schumer.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Tiberius. Finish out what your thoughts are.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so when I do this calculus in my head, it's pretty straightforward. Who of these peoples do we have things in common with? Who of these peoples do we operate well with? When it comes down to Israel, do they have certain things that we don't like? Yeah, they're semi-theocratic. They are, I wouldn't say they're an ethno-state, but they're definitely levels of where they,
they're an ethno-state.
cross the line with a lot of people with us. Let's take a look at Palestine. What's on the checklist? fucking nothing. No rule of law, no court system to a large degree in the way that we see them, right? No secular government. Like it's just
Are you serious?
like there's no level of this where the Palestinians are going to be
They have no state to maintain court system. What's wrong with you people? Do you guys understand the politics of the Middle East? They are under occupation since 1948. They're not allowed to have their own court system or their own army or their own police force or their own unions. They're not allowed. So
Doesn't the PLA have that? The PLA's got that in the West Bank.
PA have it, but they're not. They have the small part, and Israel doesn't even respect them. They're the only group that recognizes Israel. They want the two-state solution, and they still treat them like garbage because they know Israel's worst nightmare is a two-state solution because they don't want to lose that land. They call it Judah and Samaria, whatever they want. Of course, you have a lot in common with the Jews in Israel because most of them are immigrants from Brooklyn, New York, West Bank. 80% of them are from Brooklyn. Losers and misfit Jews who could not be doctors or lawyers who ended up there, go beat up a couple of people in their village and take people's homes. You understand? Of course, you have a lot in common with these people. These people do not belong in the Middle East. The only Jews who belong in the Middle East are the ones who were born there. Arab Jews belong there. They have every right to be there. Anybody who come from Poland, from Lithuania, from Eastern Europe, from England, they have to go back home. It's a castaway. They don't belong there. It's too dangerous for them. And eventually they're going to get swamped. It's a matter maybe a decade or two. It's not going to last because it's not feasible. It's built on a lie and it maintains itself in a lie. Israel, no constitution. Their national anthem is a lie. Their prime minister's names are lies. Even the Hebrew language is a lie. It's made up. It's not real. You know, the Hebrew language. What are you laughing for? It's made up.
I mean, all words are made up. Literally.
No, listen to me. The original Hebrew. Hold on. Because you're an idiot. So you're laughing because you're eating and talking at the same time. The original Hebrew is a dead language. That's why the Bible is written in Aramaic, you idiot. The modern Hebrew was created by a guy. Look it up, Google it, man. By a guy from Lithuania. I could Google it for you. They made it up. It's a made-up language because they needed a language.
They're all made up. How do you think we got English or German or Spanish?
German is a language that has a lot of history.
It was given by the gods to us.
Look it up. Look it up.
They're all made up. They're all literally made up.
I'm telling you that the country is an artful country. Everything is a lie. Even their national anthem is a Romanian song. It is not.
Well, I mean, our national anthem is a British song.
No, but it's not going to exist. I guarantee you that Israel as is will collapse because what it's doing right now, the viciousness of killing children and women, it shows you that it is like that. The last battle to survive as a Zionist entity. The more violent it becomes, the more it is going to fall.
Okay, if that was actually true, then why is all of their Arab neighbors literally stop fighting Israel? They're just like, all right, Israel's a real thing now.
Yeah, because even the deals, the peace treaty, they're making it with the regimes. And Israel is not even making real peace treaties. They're making it with the regimes, not with the people. The people hate Israel. You understand? As soon as if those regimes fall like they did, like the Arab Spring, right away they started ripping up the Israeli embassies. Everything is a lie. The Abrahamic is a lie. The Abrahamic treaty is made between the UAE. The UAE has 1 million people and have 9 million expats, Indians working in their countries. They're not even real. They are artificial countries and artificial treaties. Israel is not making peace with the people. That's what who needs to make peace with if you want to survive in the neighborhood.
They're not going to. Huh? And they have no reason to.
What do you mean they have no
Israel reason? Has nothing to fear from these people. Like, it's literally, Israel if you look at this...
survive for 5 minutes without the United States money and weapons.
Let me go to Tyler here. He's trying to get in.
I don't know about that one. Like,
I can't survive without America. Are you nuts? America.
Right,
no, like
hold on. Let me get a little order. Let me go to Tyler here. Then we'll go back to y'all. He's been trying to get it. Go ahead, Tyler.
Go ahead.
Okay, so there's a lot that's being said between you guys. I was reading a lot and fact checking a bit, so I'm going to get into a couple of points that you did say to look up. So, killing your neighbors. You said killing your neighbors is not a way that you can have a functional state where you're But it is. It's called deterrence. When you show power to your neighbors, show them you're not going to take their shit. This happened all the time in the EU through hundreds and hundreds of years, and these are how power pacts were formed, different treaties between nations and whatnot. And right now we see that for the first time since Israel's inception, we'll put it, before I get to that point, they're now normalized trade and have peace deals with Egypt, Jordan, the UAE, soon to be the Saudis, and Lebanon is currently working with them to fight Hezbollah inside Lebanon. So a lot of their neighbors are not trying to kill them, and they're not actively trying to kill a lot of their neighbors right now. It's just the ones that are backed by Iran.
I agree with you. These are cold peace. They're not real peace. These are peace with regimes. The whole idea
but these are their elected representatives, at least.
You said that you have to have deterrent, right? For the first time in Israel history, there are missiles landed in the middle of Tel Aviv. So what deterrent did it work? Did it help? Eventually, they're going to have better weapons than what they have right now with missiles. Israel has to come to the realization either it becomes a one state for Palestinians with human rights and a democratic institutions for both people to live in peace and harmony. And they could do that if they wanted to. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You want the land, but without the people. And you don't want to give up the two-nation solution on 22% was Palestine. You still want to take what's left, but you want to deal with the population. You don't know what to do with them. Now, look at the killing. Hold on.
That's a problem I'm going to address as well.
Okay, hold on. How many Saudis had Israel? Maybe 400 Saudis they have hit. Not even 100 Iranians have died. They killed 70, 80 Palestinians in Gaza, and people who have no weapons. They're trying to exterminate these people. These are the Nazis. Look at the word, Nazis. Nazis. It's in their name. You understand? Who kills women and children? Who does that? Who destroys school? Who deliberately destroys universities?
Are you?
Hospitals. Nobody does that. Only in Egypt.
I got a lot before we get to that.
I want to hit one thing. I really
All right,
do.
go ahead, Tiberius. Go ahead. Then we'll go Tiberius and Tyler. Go ahead.
Okay. I totally understand the hatred between the Palestinians and the Jews, but what I don't follow through with is that, yes, we are totally convinced of the bloodlust of literally the poster children for genocide, that the people who have been subjected to it on literally a fundamental level that is ingrained in their society is completely okay and happy to do it to other people. This is like telling me that the Irish don't, help people that are starving. It doesn't make any sense.
What did you say? What? Say that again.
Basically, it's a wild for me to believe that the Jews want to commit genocide when they're literally the poster child for people who have had that done to them. That's a leap. That's one hell of a fucking leap.
That's the crazy part. If you have that done to you, you should not be doing it to others. That's a traumatized people, you could say. According to international organizations, Israeli organization, it is a genocide. When you kill 50,000 people in 2 years, 20,000 children between the age of 5 and 9, destroy homes, universities, churches.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip this. I'm gonna flip the script. We asked our genocide experts. They're called the Germans. They've actually done it. They even said it's not a genocide.
Israeli scholars have said it. Germany is a guilty country. They keep on. Right now, Germany is fighting with them secretly and giving them money. They're being blackmailed. Germany has been blackmailed for the last 70, 80 years. They're being blackmailed.
Have you guys noticed that every rebuttal is just either everything is just phony or it's a lie?
No,
let's go to Tyler. Let's go to Tyler.
Look it up, guys. Israeli scholars who lives in Tel Aviv, who are Holocaust scholars, said it's a genocide. Jews themselves are saying it's a genocide, not me, not Omar. You understand? And this guy's talking about Germany. Who in Germany said that? This guy's eating or what? What are you doing, man?
Not
the representatives to the Human Rights Commission.
Have mercy on your stomach, man.
I've got nothing better to do right now.
I got a lot of things to respond to. Gaza's at the bottom of it, but it's unavoidable, so we're going to have to get to it. So
yeah, let Tyler go through his whole spiel here, because I'm sure he's got a whole monologue.
Iran's not going to fall.
So the next,
we're going to come back to you. Go ahead. We got an hour and 15 anyway. So we got plenty of time to talk about all of it. Go ahead.
You said at one point that Hezbollah gave the ultimatum, if you stop starving Gazans, we'll stop firing. But on October 8th, Hezbollah started firebombing the top 15 to 18% of Israel, to the point where they had to evacuate everybody that lived there into the interior of Israel long before even Israel turned around and retaliated at Gaza. So Hezbollah was one of the nations to attack first. They were, and by your own terms, they were unprovoked, because Israel didn't attack Hezbollah at all, and there was no conflict between them at the time. At the time, too, they were violating a UN treaty that both sides had signed to not go into the Litani River area, which is a 19-mile section between Lebanon and Israel in Lebanon. So they violated UN treaties and fired on Israel first, long before any starvation allegations were happening. So that's the next thing is the idea of occupation is a property rights disagreement. You're saying there is no such thing. They're colonizers, or I don't remember the exact term you said. I think it was settlers, maybe. I don't know.
Parasites. They're parasites.
Yeah, well, I want to try not to straw man in that way, like make it sound like a straw manning. So, but yeah, you're saying that they don't have a legitimate claim to the land, and if we go by Western property law, where Britain took it over after the Ottomans and after the empires fell there, it was under their control and their right to sell. It's a property rights disagreement, and like it's really how you view those rights. Some people have lived there for a long time, so in their mind it's their property regardless of what the nation in power says, and for other people it's the nation in power that has the jurisdiction over this land has the final say. It's really a fundamental disagreement and argument. You're kind of given the one side of it, where the other side of it would be Western property rights, that I, again, stand by, because I think that's the best system and the way to do it.
Property rights. They came as refugees running away from Hitler. What are you talking about? What's wrong with
They
you
bought-
guys?
they bought the land.
What?
Yes, they bought the land.
They bought some of the land. That's okay. The land you buy
Yes.
is yours. Nobody said anything about that.
That was Israel in 1948 when they were attacked by Arab nations.
Mandate Palestine was the only country to take Jews in. The United States turned chips, the St. Louis, you heard of it. The reason that they call the final question is because nobody wanted to take the Jews in Europe from Hitler. The Palestinians were giving them their homes. They were sharing. You got 2 floors. You get the upstairs floor. We get the second one. And in 1948, they turned around and kicked the people that fed them and took them in. These people have no sense of loyalty to anybody, even to America. They will turn on America in a minute if they wanted to. You understand?
I want to stick by what you said there, though. With at one point they bought some of the land, and they're entitled to that land they bought.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So then after that, what happened was they were attacked by multiple of their neighbors, including Egypt, who was at the time in control of Gaza.
You don't know.
Egypt attacked. They still attacked at the end of the day.
No.
Did they not? Did Egypt not march through Gaza and attack Israel proper?
You know what's the worst thing I have is with Western people is they're ignorant of what's going on. By the time the Arab armies attacked in 1948, 750,000 had been expelled before they even declared independence. They were clearing the land, and when the Arab nations saw all these people in their country, they attacked. Yes, and it's after the expulsion of the Palestinians. Look at Ilan Pappé. If you want to learn about history, he's a Jewish scholar. Or the guy named Shlomo something, he's an Israeli scholar. He'll tell you the real history of what happened. This is all propaganda, my friend. It's a lie.
Oh, because you agreed that the land that they bought, they were legitimately entitled to. If there were Palestinians on that land.
In 1948, when they declared independence, the Jews only owned 6% of the private land in Palestine. Look it up. I don't make nothing up.
I'm looking at it right now.
Anyway, 6 to 10%. That's all they own. That's it. So what do you want people to give out 96% of their land?
No, they didn't want 96%. The land that they had, were they entitled to kick the Palestinians off of it if they owned it?
Why are they entitled? They only own 6%.
I'm asking the land that they did own, the 10% of 6 to 10% of the land that they did own. Let me just Palestinians are they entitled to remove that?
Let me just let me relate this back to an American audience thing real quick. All right, so 2 things, right? We mentioned the Native Americans. Some of them did own land and have pretty substantial cities, like the Iroquois Confederation did have cities. The Spanish just conquered the Aztecs, who had cities bigger than fucking Rome. So when you say they didn't have cities here, that's not true. Let's equate the modern day, bro. Hold up, but let me equate the modern day when you say this. All right, I'm a Texan, right? I fucking hate big government, right? One of the things I hate the most is this cool thing called eminent domain, right? The government can come in and just give me pennies on the dollar and then take my fucking land, right?
Property, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, okay, this is like something the government can do to its own citizens already, and despite my wishes, even though I can follow all the rules, they can fuck me up. Now, we're talking about Israel, right, being established after the Ottoman Empire falls, and the British gain control over it, and basically, once they've got control, they get to do whatever they want with that land, despite what the people there, right? Would you agree with that statement?
No.
If like they own the land, they don't get to do what they want with it as the
No,
country
no.
that owns it.
Let me educate you, Admiral.
Okay.
It was called the Palestinian Mandate, and under that mandate, eventually they would give full independence to all the Jews, Christians, and Muslims in one country. It was going to be Palestine for everybody. And on May 15, 1948, when Israel declared its independence, Jews only owned 6% of private property. And when the United Nations gave a recommendation, they didn't give them a land. It was a recommendation. It was not a partition. They gave away 56% of the land. Now, if I own a home and I own a farm, why am I going to give it to a guy named Shlomo from Eastern Europe? Why? You understand? You guys gotta have mercy on the Palestinians. You cannot look at it it's all lie. They've been lying to you. It's all called bad Hasbara. We have no issue with Jews. The Jews lived in Yemen, in my country, together. As a matter of fact, we have clubs on Facebook. We listen to music together as of now. Jews lived hold on. Jews lived in Baghdad, middle class. Jews lived in Egypt. The most educated and most fully wealthy Jews were in Egypt. No, they didn't even want to leave. The Mossad has to go in to the Levant scandal to bomb synagogues, bomb Jewish movie theaters, bomb Jewish neighborhoods to get them to leave and go to Israel. It's all a lie. The castaways who came from Eastern Europe need to go back home. God bless them. They did what they did. They already killed a lot of people. Go home. That's it. Leave.
So the war actually started before the expulsion of Palestinians. Egypt,
Yes.
Jordan. Yes. So you were saying earlier that the expulsion of the Palestinians was the reason that 4 Arab nations attacked Israel. 5 actually attacked Israel at once in 1948, but it actually happened 6 months sooner.
Nation. They were all under occupation.
And Israel was saying at the time the reason they expelled. Hold on, I let you go for a while, man. Let me get a point.
My apologies, Taylor. Go ahead.
So they actually attacked 6 months prior, and the reason Israel gives is because many of the Palestinians were working against their government in the territories that they were currently allowing them in, so they decided they have to go in order for us to have a state in the first place. So once they declared their independence as a state, they were initially allowing anybody to live there that they wanted. And then they went to war, and during wartime, they were attacked from the interior by people living within the nation. So they expelled those people out and became that ethno-state that people still say they are today. So that is the issue here, is they were kind of screwing up the timeline a little bit. They were attacked by 6 different Arab nations just for declaring their independence.
There were no Arab nation. They were all under occupation. All of them. Egypt was under occupation. The only real army that was really trained good was the Jordanian army, but it was under a British general. The other was just ragtag countries were still under occupation or under colonial rule. As a matter of fact, about 20,000 of them attacked, and the Israeli had tanks, they had real weapons, they even had air forces and everything. So when people will say, 6 Arab countries attacked to make this dramatic thing, the brave Israeli who withstood this attack. No. The reaction from the Arab country was the reaction to the full expulsion of Arabs. They already were expelling from cities and towns and killing them, rape. As a matter of fact, they have videos on. Taylor, get to know me. I want you to make a friend with me on Twitter, and I'll send you some tape of Israeli soldiers who admit, old ones, raping and killing Palestinians with machine guns on purpose. So they scared them away to leave. It's a lie. And they always say, the Arabs always attacking Israel. Wrong. 1956, England and France attacked Egypt because of the Suez Canal. Guess who gets involved? Israel goes straight over to the Sinai and massacres a lot of people in Gaza. 1967, they say, oh, the Arabs attacked. No, it was a preemptive attack, like what they did to Iran. As a matter of fact, the Egyptians were dancing, and they destroyed it just to take over the land. The only war that was ever declared against Israel was the 1973 Yom Kippur War by Egypt, and it was just a short-lived war by 10 days.
Wait, what about the 6 Day War?
the 6-day war of 1967. It was Israel attack. It's called a preemptive attack. The same thing they did to Iran.
Yeah, well, hold on. I mean, if you're okay, so let's just talk about that real quick. If you're a country, like here's the combined stats from the two sides, right, during the 6-day war. The Arab armies had approximately 465,000 soldiers. Israel 265. The Air Force had 2,504 tanks. Israel approximately 800. The Arab Combined Air Force had 800 aircraft. Israel had 250, 350. Whole lot. And now, at the time, they were very evenly matched on tank tech. It's not like they had F-35s, all these different things, that maybe their soldiers were trained better. But we're talking about equal tanks, equal aircraft, and they're like outnumbered.
I know.
Maybe even arguably, the Arabs might have had better aircraft because they had the MiGs, and the Israelis didn't. So, like, how are you going to argue that why they wouldn't attack first if they're going to be, outgunned in a potential conflict that's about to go down?
There was no reason for the war. The whole Egyptian Air Force got destroyed. Parked planes. It was a surprise attack. There was no reason for that war to happen. Every plane was destroyed on the land. They never got off. It was a sneak attack. It was the moment they wanted to take over the West Bank and East Jerusalem. They needed something. And they always lie. We've always being attacked. You're always attacking. You are the villain. You are the person who's doing the attacking. You don't want to live there. You live by violence, and you're gonna eventually get destroyed by violence. Eventually, and hopefully, you understand? Because you have no right to exist. 1967.
Tiberius, I see you laughing.
They did preemptively attack on that.
They had the element of surprise. The Egyptians were not going to war with them. I'm telling you, the whole Air Force was destroyed, the Egyptian.
He's right, because they were actually blocking the Strait of Tiran. It wasn't allowing them to get shipments of food and whatnot into Israel. So they were saying they did attack first. They were saying it was a necessity based on survival.
They had Haifa, the port of Haifa. They don't have no right to go to Egyptian waters. So what? They were not born guaranteed that. Come on.
Yeah. They were saying that's why. I was just explaining.
It's all
I was actually helping out your argument there. I was explaining it to him.
I know, but the same thing they did to the Iranian right now.
Tyler, hold on.
One thing, Gibbs, just one thing. Since 1990, I swear to God, and I swear on my kids, they're downstairs, that Netanyahu has been telling us Iran is 6 months away from having a nuclear weapon. 7 months, 8 months, 1 year, 2 years. 30 years of the damn FU, same lie that he's been telling us. Now he wants to be the big boy and he wants to attack. You are attacking a nation of 90 million and the geography of almost Western Europe. You are begging the United States to go in.
Well, let's talk about that. Right? Okay, so what's interesting is you say that, and then today we have either it was an earthquake or it was a nuclear test, and it's very debatable because there's some suspicious things about it.
I hope they have the bomb. I hope they do.
You hope they have the bomb. All right, well,
in the street,
we'll see how that works out for them.
I live in New York City. I grew up, they say game knows game. If you have a gun and the other guy has a gun, there's respect. But if you only have
I live in Texas. And yet only one of our states has the open dueling. Only one of us duels, and it ain't New York. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
If you had a machine gun and only had a stick, you could beat the shit out of me every day if I act up, right?
I guess. Sure. There's the whole parts of tactics and stuff. But
if I had the same machine gun you had, we're gonna have respect each other, right or wrong?
Maybe.
No, this is. I don't know. This is the problem with this, right? Like, you have a nation. You have two nations that are about what 4.
You're not prepared. You come unprepared. I'm going to tell you. I'm honest with you. You're not prepared for anything today.
Kiss my ass. Fuck you, dude. I'm totally invited because I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Yeah, I appreciate that.
You're an idiot. By the way, you're talking. You eat in. You have no respect for the show. No nothing. Why would you eat it while we're talking?
Because I got other shit to do besides listen to this. It's all propaganda. No, dude. Bring this to me in a way that's faithfully incredible, or fuck off. You're acting I should have more respect for the show. Have more respect for my fucking dignity, you jackass, and stop saying, I'm either misinformed or I'm just I just don't know a fucking thing. I'm just arrogant or ignorant as fuck. Eat my ass. Eat my whole ass.
All right. Let's rate it in. Let's rate it in. Everybody's.
All right. So anyway, I'm going to make my no. I'm going to make my fucking point now.
He knows what he's talking about.
Well, hold on. Let Tiberius go here. We'll let Tiberius go.
All right,
and
look.
then you can object to it.
Go ahead, my friend.
Okay, yeah, you're talking about nations that are 400 miles apart, right? From even being able to touch each other. They can't invade one another.
1,800 miles or 1,500 miles. Good.
Yeah, if you go the long way around, all you got to do is cross Syria, right? This is why Israel is able to bomb Iran. It's not that far, but you got to go through a nation or two, right?
There's Iraq and no way. Okay.
Yeah. So, long story short, at like minimum 4 miles or 400 miles apart, literally has an entirely different neighborhood, and half of them used to hate all the same people, right? The Arabs hated both of them. They could have been friends, but they didn't become friends. The Arabs, who were literally the neighbors of the Jews, decided that they would rather be friends with the Jews instead. The people who have legitimate grievance against them. And yet here we are. Israel is in a position where they can kick the living shit out of Iran, not because Iran is a terribly incompetent country, it's because they picked the wrong fucking team. Iran is out of friends. They have picked the wrong boat on who to support and who to oppose. And now they're getting an ass whooping because they don't want to realize it's the 21st fucking century.
So
that is a factor.
I don't even know what the hell you were trying to say. Tyler, you have something to say, or you want me to talk?
Well, just what he's saying, that is a factor. Right now, Russia is one of their greatest allies. They're selling weapons to Russia. Both of them are selling their energy to China as their main source of sales. And Russia's in a war right now where they couldn't even defend their proxy state, Syria.
Yeah. But Russia has never been a good ally. Historically, Russia has never been a good ally anyway.
Yeah. But I kind of wanted to go back to what we were saying here. Well, I got a lot of
1,400 miles. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got a lot of things that I was so.
Oh yeah, go ahead, monologue.
Yeah, you were talking about the two-state solution earlier, how it's off the table now. The only thing that we see in Israeli polling right now, and we also see this in polling from Gaza, is half of Gaza, most of Israel says they agree to a two-state solution. The Gazan demand is you go closer back to the 1948 borders, and the Israel demand is you remove Hamas from power and put somebody in that doesn't call for the death of Israel.
Not true.
So, like, you can't just do it right now with Hamas in power. The group has to not call for the death of Israel. That's one of Israel's conditions. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a... But you did say also, to fact check you on two things. So those two things were Gaza has a police force. They're called the PCP, which is pretty funny. And then their primary security forces, which serve the functions of an army but aren't actually a standing army, are the PPS. So they are allowed to have those two things. The other one was the biblical Hebrew and modern Hebrew actually share a lot of commonalities. I saw online they have about 70% the same words. What we see here is the difference between, like, if you look at old biblical English and you look at English now, or you look at Shakespearean, I can't fucking read Shakespeare without a translator. It's like a whole different fucking language. It's the same day with colloquial English.
Hebrew is a dead language. It died more than 4,000 years ago.
Well, classical Hebrew, yes, but also classical English.
There was no Hebrew.
I read classical English.
There was a couple of words here and there. I mean, Yemenis, Jews, and all that, but it's all made up. The modern Hebrew is all made up. That's why even the Jewish Bible is written in what is that, Aramaic? Is that Aramaic? That's how I say it. Let me go back to what you said, that they did have a police. Well, it's like having a gang. Let's say you're in a prison, you have a gang, the Muslims and this and that, and they have to just control themselves. But beyond their border, they have no control of their lives. If you go look at since 2005, when Israel withdrew out of Gaza, they did a wall around them. Chocolate was not allowed. Diapers sometimes was not allowed. Books were not allowed sometimes. Hairpins were not allowed. Toys were not allowed, just to punish these people and belittle them and make them hate themselves on purpose. This is evil. It can't be more evil than that. The whole idea, Israel doesn't want us to... The problem is the charter, Hamas charter, it says that they will recognize the 1967 borders. And Hamas was built by Israel, by Netanyahu and the Likud. I knew that. I had a debate with a guy 4 years ago, and he cursed me out and called me a nut job, and I sent him that tape a couple of days ago. I had it saved, that Hamas was deliberately created as a counterpoint to the PEA to create a divide and conquer situation where they don't get along. And it worked. And I knew that, and I said it. Everybody knew it in the Middle East. We all knew that Hamas was created by Israel. It doesn't take a genius, but Americans don't know that. And everything. Anyway,
not created, they were backed by, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Backed and financed, even to the last 2 weeks before they attacked. They took $200 million to them, $200 million through Tel Aviv from Qatar. Okay. To go back, Israel does not want a one-state solution because they cannot exist. Good. They cannot exist as a state because the demographic won't help them, and they don't want the two-state solution. So what do you want to do? You want the final solution. They want to expel the Palestinians from the West Bank to Jordan and from Gaza to Egypt, wherever they're going to go, because they had made it unlivable on purpose. It looks like a Mad Max on purpose. It's such destructions that these people are subhuman. You cannot believe that these people, their families came out of Europe, out of the Holocaust, where they were treated, murdered, and gassed, and they had the ghettos. What do you call it? The Poland ghettos, or whatever they were.
Right.
And just to do the same thing to a people that you came as a refugee to their country, you are evil. Sometimes I even question the history they say. So I question it, the 6 million number. I question it now. The Anne Frank, I think it was a fucking bullshit. They made it up. All that stuff was all lies because they lied so much on October 8th, October 7th, that I couldn't believe the lies I was hearing. Listen to me, Tyler. I was for the one-state solution before this. I was for that. I said, well, the best thing to have. You want me to wait for you? Do you hear?
No, I'm hearing still. I got to fix my camera real quick.
Okay. So
we all have mobile headsets.
Gibbs, I was for the one-state solution before the. Hey, leave me in the top. I look better. Okay. I was for.
I don't have anybody to control that. I would have to like change people's names here. It's a whole thing.
I look handsome like that. You bring me down. So okay, Tyler, welcome back.
I didn't do anything. It's just Discord.
Okay,
like I would have to literally put a letter in front of your name and
I'm so happy that you put me on. You bring me on because I was blacklisted by Brianna Wu and all those people. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brianna Wu and them don't pay me fucking bupkis. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
I don't like that dude anyway.
Hey, listen. So I'll tell you right now. I just so everybody's aware, everybody knows Gibbs Ultimate Cow. I'll sell out like a motherfucker, right? Like just so y'all know. But they ain't paid me nothing, so I don't give a shit about their blacklist.
Yeah, she blacklisted me from everybody. She told everybody not there. Even Destiny blocked me on Twitter. I don't even know him. So Tyler, Israel has a problem. They don't want a one-state solution because they want to maintain an ethno-state for the Jews. Even they passed a law that Israel is a state for the Jews. Not mind you have 20% to 25% Arabs and other minorities in there. And they don't want the two-state solution because they have this messianic movement called the religious, who are more dangerous to Israel in the future than the Arabs are going to be. You're going to see they're going to have a civil war because they're crazy as F in the West Bank, all these messianic Jews. So you don't want the one-state solution. Hold on. You don't want the one-state solution. Okay. You don't want the two. What do you want? Let us know what you want so we can work with you. You cannot have apartheid. You cannot keep these 5 million people without any voting rights, without human rights, without any. You cannot do that in this time, in this era. It's not possible. You understand? Beit Salam, a Jewish organization, is apartheid. Human Rights International is apartheid. Amnesty International is apartheid. Jewish scholars is apartheid. Everybody's calling it. They have streets in the West Bank for Jews and streets for the Arabs, which are not paved. They have walls. They have different plates. They cannot go to certain areas. And they're cutting off these towns. For me to go to see my cousin, we used to take 10 minutes. I'm just pretending I'm a Palestinian. It'll take me 4 to 5 hours now because they have put all these walls. It's so disgusting that every time somebody goes to visit the West Bank on their own, if you want to go, I'll pay for your trip if you want to go, but you have to go to a Palestinian organization. They go back, they come back changed. Even Jews, even Holocaust survivors, they come back changed when in Hebron, Palestinians are not allowed in certain streets. What kind of racism? Why do you support that as Americans? This is not our values. Israel doesn't share American values. Israeli Jews don't share our values of human rights, of equal rights under the law. They are running an apartheid state. They are treating Palestinians as subhumans. They are killing their women, their children. They are raping men. And they had a fight inside the cabinet in their parliament that it's okay to rape Palestinian men. They stuck iPhones in their rectums. What humanity? What are you protecting? Well,
I don't think anybody's protecting. I mean, listen, nobody's here is like a diehard Israel supporter here.
This doofus here who ran away now. He said, "Oh,
I mean, he'll be back. He'll be back. I'm sure."
I am as pro-Israel as it goes.
We share.
You're pro.
They're like us. We share the same values. No, you don't. They are not. They don't share. I came to the United States as a young kid from a country that was, it was not an oppressive country, but I came here for economic reason, and I've been successful, thank God. And I love America because I'm treated the same as everybody. I've been in business, in retail business. I dealt with people, even if they hated me and I hated them, but still we had a common ground is the dollar to make money with each other. You understand? That's real democracy. And when somebody comes on media, legacy media, and say Israel is our ally, the only ally, some of these politicians, look at an app called AIPAC Tracker. Look at it, how much money they give. Every 97 senators out of 100 gets money from AIPAC. Why? You have no independence. We don't share nothing with these people. These people are evil. They're criminals.
Listen, I mean, you'll get a lot of support from a lot of Republicans for sure. That are going to say, "Why are we sending money over there while we support people?" Sure. I mean, I think you'll get support from a lot of people who are pretty sick of being overseas.
The game is over for Israel. Israel has lost all public opinion of what they did.
Well, you say that, but like it looks like. I mean, so why are countries normalizing like their relations with Israel? If that's the case,
I'm talking about Americans. The only people that are with Israel right now are the senators and the congressmen who take money from AIPAC. You saw the debate with.
Yeah, but the other thing is that you're not factoring is like to Americans, Iran is like one of the perennial enemies. Like, I mean, I'm listening to you, but I'm speaking from like my worldview, right? Like I've talked to a lot of people, I mean, listen, Papa, I got a lot more than 10 cows, I'll tell you that. But I'll tell you this, though, is if I go and talk to people, like, in my vicinity, like, their general response is going to be, yeah, Israel, Palestine, they're going to have opinions. Then when you factor in Iran, even the casual person's like, well, Iran kills women, Iran kills the gays, we don't like Iran. Like, I don't think you're going to find many people, like, riding and dying for Israel, but you can find a lot of people saying, I'm not too sad if they take Iran out. I think it's a general American public, thing.
I don't public opinion.
Let me go to Tyler. I know he wants to get through his monologue, and then we'll go to Tyler. Go ahead.
Just growing.
Just one opinion poll that just came out: 86% of Americans do not support the United States getting into the war. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna go to Tyler. I'm gonna finish your monologue. Nobody interrupt him, please. I know it's gonna be hard. If you got objections, write it down. Then we're gonna go to Tiberius because he's back. Because I know he just saw his head, and then we'll come back to you, Omar. So anybody's got objections? Write them down or put them in a notebook on your phone or whatever, and then we're going to go there. I know that Tyler's got like 6 points he wants to make to address
Tyler,
a bunch of
them.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm chilling. I'm in a great mood. I love having good discussion.
I love having I really appreciate it, and I want to have discussion with you in the future. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is what I do. So, all right. So I kind of want to challenge your premise that Israel is not self-sustaining, but at the same time they want to kick the Palestinians out and take over even more land. I'm wondering how that would actually make them more sustained than what they are right now if they had more land, more things to deal with, more to worry about, and the Arab nations wouldn't like it.
You have to understand that Israel is economically stuck to the United States we gave them more than 30 billion last year, 40 billion. Joe Biden, even though he just signed the checks. You have to understand, without the United States, Israel would not exist. It would not have the weapons. Did you know that 24 hours a day that C-130s are bringing weapons into Israel? A bridge of 24 hours from Germany, from the United States, and from Britain. 24 hours a day to fight a couple of ragtag idiots in Gaza. Imagine now with Iran. I'm telling you, I know the Israelis are coward when it comes to war. They don't want to die. Let's just put it this way. They've
invaded every one of their neighbors over the last 50 years and whipped their ass. What is this?
Let me get my shit out, please. Come on, guys.
They never invaded. They use the Air Force all the time. They never have fought face to face. The 1973.
Let's go. Hold on. Let Tyler finish it. So go ahead. I know he's got a whole bunch more.
They were actually guaranteed $43 billion in 2024, but they haven't received it all. The weapons package has come over a long period of time, but I kind of want to get into that.
24 hours a day, Tyler. I swear to God.
Yeah, I feel you, but it takes a long time to deliver billions of dollars of weapons as well, especially when you were doing them small. Joe Biden was doing them in such small packages that he didn't have to actually report it to Congress. So there were a lot more, but they were a lot smaller. As for the survival without the U.S., I'm looking online at estimates. The highest estimate I could find is $300 billion that we've given Israel since we started giving them money. That's over the entire several decades, and that's adjusted for inflation. Not adjusted for inflation, I see anywhere from $160 billion to $200 billion. Their budget yearly is $1.2 billion, meaning that to them, that's not that much money if you parse it out over the long amount of time. It's like
No,
one
no,
point
they get
five billion a year.
they get 3.8 billion every year, and $1 billion for the dog.
3.3, 3.3, but that's adjusted for inflation. But at the same time,
No,
we
no,
give
no. Right
Egypt
now,
1.3.
Obama, before he left office, he signed $38 billion for 10 years.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying generally they get that much. If you average out, since we've been
That's a
giving
lot of
them
money
money,
for a
it's
population of 10
3.3.
million.
It is, but at the same time, we give Egypt 1.3 billion for these exact same things. Like it's to contain the area.
100 million people.
Yeah, but I'm kind of trying to address the points you already made there. We don't really give them more than 1 year of their economic GDP, or what they take in from their taxation and such. Their budget is 120 billion. If we give them 160 billion, that's 1 year of their economy. They could easily make that up with like 3 to 5 years, and this is over several decades we've given it to them. It is not sustaining them; it's just aiding them. That being said, if we look at like the U.S. government, how much money we take in, Qatar alone completely dwarfs Israel in spending in our U.S. government, in spending in U.S. universities, and hiring politicians as lobbyists and such. Like half the Trump administration, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and several other people in the Trump administration had jobs for Qatar in the past as well. They are big.
Texas A&M had a direct school in Qatar.
Yeah. So
as
Qatar
well.
is the ones that are currently hosting Hamas's leadership inside Doha. And so at the moment, like the people that are hosting Hamas are putting in about 4 times the money into our government as Israel. Why aren't we supporting them? Like, there has to be more to it than just Israel pays money, because AIPAC and Israel together don't even come close to just one nation. And then you have Iran, you have China, you have Russia, and all these other axis of evil, to quote George Bush, nations dumping in way more money than Israel. Why are we still aligned to Israel if that's the case?
I'm going to tell you something. See, we have the biggest air base in the world we have is in Qatar. It's called Udeid. There's about 11,000 American servicemen. Qatar built it on their own for $11 billion. Qatar pays $3 billion a year to maintain that air force. The United States doesn't even lose a dime over there, and they need it. That's one of the biggest.
Well, Qatar's definitely trying to get in bed
But
with
the
us.
point is,
Qatar,
you're
wait,
saying,
hold on. Let me explain to you. And Qatar is an idiot for giving American universities $3 billion. Why would you give them? Why don't you just build the Arab universities and help the Arab nations educate themselves?
Well, I can answer that one. So Texas A&M, until like last year, actually had a satellite school that was exactly, you could go to Texas A&M Qatar, and they would like do a program over there. And you could do stuff. They had archaeology. They had some other stuff out there. They had like oceanography, and then you could get your ring there and it'd be the same as the A&M here. And there was a lot of like overlap, and you had a lot of trade people in the political science departments and stuff. So there was like a direct advantage to that. Also, if you didn't know this, Robert Gates and Robert was the CIA director, a former president of A&M. I can't imagine why the #1 military prep school would want people to go to Qatar and train over in the Middle East for portions of the period of time. I kind of don't see any kind of connection there. I mean, whenever A&M produces more Navy SEALs than any other school in the nation, I feel like there might be some kind of connection there. But I'm the conspiracy theorist, I guess.
Who's training who? Where?
Well, so A&M, if you didn't know this, provides more Navy SEAls than any military school, because basically we're the best. I don't know if you know who Teddy Roosevelt is. Says, give me an Army of West Point graduates, I can win a battle. Give me an Army of A&M graduates, I can win a war. So it makes pretty much a lot of sense to me that you would have, when you have an exchange program with a satellite school that's directly over there, and then them giving money to other schools, that you would have some sort of military interest tied to the Middle East, like that's not just Israel or Saudi based, especially with Qatar. Qatar like plays, and this is kind of what I brought the CIA thing. Robert Gates, A&M president for a while, he was CIA director. Interesting that Qatar also talks to every fucking terror group as the middleman for us. I mean, just total coincidence these things are all happening. But I'm just saying.
I'm going to explain to you. It's very easy. It's very easy. First of all, about they're giving money to schools. Did you know the #1 cancer research center in Houston is from the UA? They gave it to you guys free. The whole there. Hold on. Qatar is a small nation of about 300 or 400,000. Don't count the expats. It's going to say 3 million people. It's not. It's only about not even 1 million people. The natives. These people, these countries are very weak. They tend to give money as a way to survive and win favors. And second of all, let me tell you about the link to these. The United States told Qatar to open an office for the Taliban because you got to talk to your enemies. The United States ordered Qatar to open an office for them. They said, okay. Israel and the United States told Qatar they could open an office for Hamas inside Qatar as a way to communicate. They have to negotiate because you could fight all you want, but at the end of the day, you have to sit at a table and write something with a pen and a paper. That's how wars end. So everything they did, even the money they used to give Hamas, was asked by Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel. A matter of fact, I have one of Morning Joe when he said they asked them 2 weeks before that, they said, "You sure you want us to give money to Hamas?" Netanyahu said, "Give it to them." And they used to send the money directly to Tel Aviv, and the Netanyahu government, through the Mossad, will give it directly to Hamas. So
let me jump in.
that's a very simple thing. A matter of trying to win favors. Yeah, everybody has a lobbyist, but APAC.
Oh, sure.
Tyler, when you get a chance, download APAC Tracker. It's an app and tells you, see how much money is given. It's ridiculous.
Let me jump in here. Let me go to Tiberius here. He's trying to get in. I'm gonna let him monologue for a second. Let him finish this thing, people, and then object. All right, go ahead.
No problem.
Yeah, so the original conversation was Iran-Israel, right? I want to reformat this a little bit. When it comes to Iran, I would love to have better relations with Iran. This is the civilization that produced not only Cyrus the Great, but the Khosrows, right? Long, rich history of some people that have really kick ass in history. Would like to be friends, but we're not. This is entirely Iran's fault. They've had the opportunity in the same way that the Gulf states have had, whether it's Qatar, whether it's the UAE. Everyone's on board with Team America, right? Iran is not. And so Iran's getting the smoke by our friend that goes around and just beats everybody's ass.
Why? Why they're not friend with Iran? Why?
Why is Iran not our friend?
Because of the Israeli lobby.
Even without the Israeli lobby, right?
Did you see Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson yesterday's interview? You saw her when he said that the Bible.
Yeah.
The Bible said, "Whoever loves Israel will love me." What are you talking about? He told him, "Where is that?" It doesn't say that. He's talking about Netanyahu. Are you talking about?
I have no idea. Look, when it comes down to it, is like
very laughable and stupid. How you?
I don't care. Anyway, like outside of the deflection, when it comes to Iran, they're in this situation before we even started supporting the Israelis, right? We didn't like them ever since they elected a leftist government back in 1948? And we're like, no, you're picking the wrong side in the Cold War. Like, either you join up with Uncle Sam or you can try to breed with the Soviets, in which case we could him.
Is he frozen?
Right? Like,
eyes? You're good.
It's your eyes.
I think it's your eyes. Anyway, yeah, like, don't get me wrong, there's some missteps in this conversation, this relationship. But long story short,
Iran came to power in 1979, and it's a difference of 50 years between the relationship.
Well, hold on. Let her finish.
Yeah, making sense. Yeah.
Well, he's talking about the one before.
I'm sorry you can't follow along. But yeah, like, anyway, long story short here is that this relationship's already been shit long before the Israelis were part of the picture. Right? Yeah. And it's not been salvaged, and it consistently comes down to the fact that Iran keeps saying they want to take the anti-American stance. And as long as they want to do that, they're going to keep getting the smoke from all of our friends, because our friends are rich, our friends are powerful, our friends are successful. Wrong side.
Why is everybody frozen except me? Go ahead.
I
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. You might have to just... Here, let me move you out of the room and move you back in. I'll do that real quick.
I don't even know where I'm at.
All right, I got you. I'll move you out, move you back. And then just turn your camera back on.
From where?
In here in Discord. I just moved you. Moved you in and out.
I have to find myself. Hold on. I don't have Discord. I don't know what happened to it.
Well, that's probably why they're frozen. That screen that showed
system failure.
Huh?
It was Mossad. Mossad got him.
Mossad, they hate me.
They did.
Good job, BB.
Because I'm speaking facts. I'm here and I'm spitting out facts.
Okay.
Okay, wait, hold on. I gotta find myself, man.
Well, while he does that, go ahead. Tyrus, were you mid thing? Did you have more?
No, I had a. Oh, sorry, Tiberius. My bad. I heard you say.
No, you're good. No, I had a little bit more. Like, I do definitely don't like the idea of the Israelis being cowards. I mean, well, I'm sorry, but whenever you directly fight Egypt and smoke their fucking ass, and you have the most competent Air Force in the planet, or one of the most competent on the planet.
They're the third most. They're the third most competent
behind the United States Navy and Air Force.
Yeah,
Hell
that's right.
yeah. Number one, baby.
Goddamn right, baby. That's goddamn right.
Number 1 and 2, right? No, when it comes down to it, it's not like the Persians don't have fucking anti-air missiles, right? It's not like the Israelis are taking enormous risks by literally going up over Syria and Iraq, flying 1,000 miles to drop bombs on target, right? Like this is incredibly risky. They're not cowards at all. What it is that Iran is getting an ass whooping by the most competent actor in the entire Middle East. See, it's completely the opposite way.
I don't know if we're watching the same news, man, but that's okay. Am I on? You guys can see me?
Well, wait. How do you think Iran's doing right now? Do you think they're winning, Omar?
Iran is not. It doesn't have the same equipment that the Israelis have, but they are doing serious psychic damage to Israel. You understand? Israel has
psychic damage.
They got like Yuri from Red Alert 2 over there? Or what are they doing? Like, what do you mean by that?
No, the Israeli citizen has never been hit in his neighborhood, or he's never seen a rocket. His real rockets with real power hits his.
Well, they've been having rockets hit them for like 20 years. Like
no rockets, those are not rockets. Those are they're made out of sewage, man. They're like firecrackers. This is real weapons that have been hitting it. They're doing serious damage. The whole idea is you cannot win a war by air. You have to come down. A bird, no matter how long it flies, it has to come down and drink water and eat. You understand? So Israel will not succeed against Iran unless the United States enters the war. And you can write that any way you want in your office.
What do you think the Israeli objective is?
Why am I calling the Israeli coward? In the 2006 war with Hezbollah, there's a book, Tyler, when I get to that, I'm going to send you the book by an Israeli author. They had to arrest the infantry because they don't want to fight the Hezbollah. They had to arrest them. They wouldn't go in a fight. They were like, oh, no, I'm not going in. They were arresting their soldiers because they don't want to go fight because they were scared to die because they're not fighting. They're kids, 18 years old, 17 years old, 20 years old. They're not fighters. That's why they're stupid. They're committing all these war crimes on TikTok. These are not real professional soldiers. You understand? So the whole idea is
I just want to point out that I did bring up Iran's secret psychic weapon up on screen right here. It's Yuri. He's back from the dead. He survived the Red Alert 2 conflict.
Somebody else?
No, it's a joke.
It's a meme.
It's a meme.
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
Boomer.
It's from a strategy game back in the day. He was a psychic power. He caused a lot of psychic damage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Tyler. You look like you were ready to jump in there.
I kind of just want to keep pushing back on that. The point I made about Qatar giving 4 times the amount of money to our government than Israel, and all I heard as I'm addressing to it is everybody has a lobby. But if there is control over the U.S. government based on money, then why aren't the nations giving significantly more money having that control?
I want to ask you. Go ahead. You finished?
Yeah, I just want to. Why is it Qatar and China?
The Arabs are bad investors. They give money, they don't want to take money. Then Israel is making an investment. The money they give to the politician, 100,000, they get it back tenfold. They invest $100 million for congressional races, and they get back 10, 20, $30 billion. Israel is not in it to give. Israel is to take. That's what they do. They don't want to give away their money. They're not stupid. These Arabs sell oil all day. They don't have real countries. They have a population up to 300,000-400,000. They have this sovereign wealth. They don't know what to do with it. So you understand. So Israel is not in the business to give money. These are lobbyist group. AIPAC is not money coming from Israel. AIPAC is a Jewish businessman and Christian Zionists, rich who give money to AIPAC, and AIPAC dulls it out.
Yeah, but even then, like let's just say all that's true, right? Like Iran has even then chosen to side with our perennial enemies like North Korea. I mean, North Korea is just getting stronger and stronger from the chaos. Like now they've taken over drone production. They're sending more troops to fucking whatever to Russia. They're getting more fucking shit. North Korea is just winning all around. Everything that's happening, North Korea wins, right? Somehow their leader surprisingly super fucking smart. Apparently, I guess. And then, or he's got somebody in there telling him what to do. Then we got over here Russia. So they're siding with Russia. They're siding with Iran. They're tangentially aligned with Cuba. That Cuba and them have a deal to like repair their old fucking stock whenever they can eventually get a boat over to Cuba, which is once every fucking 50 years. But like they got to deal with them. They're allied with Russia, and and then I guess they're also allied with all the terror groups that attack U.S. soldiers. Like Iran is like not our friend; they're an adversary. And then not only that, they're morally like diametrically opposed to America. Right? They're committing a gay genocide. They're very anti like woman compared to like Western philosophy. Right? Like this seems like they're diametrically opposed. Why would like America ever back Iran, even if everything you said about Israel is true? Like I don't see why. Tiberius, go ahead. You get your hand up here.
I just want to add to what you're saying because this is a huge one for me. The fact that Iran is allied with somebody who they fought 7 wars against versus somebody that we have never fought a war against, that blows my mind, right? Like, the United States should have every reason to be getting along with Iran and vice versa. And yet, Iran keeps making this dumbass decision where they would rather be friends with the Russians. I don't get it, but respectfully to the Persians, or actually it's the Farsi.
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, they just need to be better at picking teams. They really do.
Well, the problem is we have them under an embargo and sanction. We're not letting them sell their oil, and the Russians are giving them help. Who are you going to make funds with?
We've given them the terms and conditions and of what they need to do.
What's the conditions?
The conditions is that you are going to abandon the theocracy. You're going to have voting for the majority of your people, and you're all going to have a fucking say in it. They don't.
They had 7 elections since the 1979 and 7 different presidents. They
have elections. How many people vote?
It doesn't 40%. How many Americans vote? Nobody goes to vote. What are you talking about? Every country is the worst thing in every country.
It's the clergy.
The whole idea is, my friend Tyler, is the other countries in the neighborhood who are allies, they don't have no elections at all. At least these guys have elections, presidential elections, and sometimes sometimes the liberal bloc will take over the country. Sometimes the right. The extreme right, sometimes it goes back and forth for the last, I think 7 elections or 8 elections they had since 1979. So it's not.
Is the terms harder for the?
It's not a.
Yeah, is the terms? No, it's not about being a purpose democracy. It's that the terms are higher for the Persians than it is for the Arabs because the Arabs decided that they were going to play along. They said, "All right, we'll sell our oil. We will sell you the oil. We'll stop fucking around." And, funding terror groups are all across the Middle East. We're going to play nice. That's what the Arabs got for, not being a pain in our ass anymore. Is that they get rich now. Persians didn't want that. Persians said death to America.
Yeah, but did America die?
No, we didn't. And so they're getting punished because they picked the wrong side.
It's a slogan. Even the Yemenis, death to America, death to Israel. Okay, they're going to get a disease and die. This is all BS. It's all placard in the street. They're going to really kill us. The whole idea is that, my friends, that when you say that we have conditions, you're not supposed to put conditions on nations. Nations should choose their own governments, their own way, what they do. We don't get Iran is against the LGBTQ movement in America. Suppose we tell America you got to give that up.
We're going to tell them to get fucked.
Right? I believe the quote is you don't have the cards.
I just told you.
You don't have the cards.
Let's say Iran is a superpower and say, listen, you guys got to stop this LGBTQ stuff and transgender stuff. We're against it because of our. What are you going to tell them?
Whoa! Iran is actually very pro-transgender. Just throwing that out.
I know. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you that. But let's just.
He's consistency
that's
checking.
One way to put it.
No, I know
he's trying to consistency check.
I know. I was just trying to add some levity.
I know. Khomeini made a fatwa in 1979. He said, some people are born women. So what happened is they give them free transgender surgery. Since that
I don't want to dive into the transgender topic with Iran. Let's just fucking.
No, I know. Well, these days it's not as sensitive as it used to be. Now we could talk like we want to. Trump is the president. The problem is that.
Well,
what I'm trying to make the point, Gib. What I'm trying to make the point is you can't make demands on other country. I said, how about okay, let's say that people who are ginger and looks like Gibbs are not allowed. What should we tell them? It's just a
Well, I
joke,
mean,
Hell yeah, let's do it.
I mean, it depends, man. If you
Thanks.
do it in your country, like, I mean, like,
You
you
know
act
that
like
there.
we go in there and moral police these countries all the time. Are we in there fighting for the Ungar Muslims? No. Are we fighting? Like, I mean, I kind of want to shift the conversation a little bit.
Look what we did in Venezuela. Venezuela before under Chavez was actually giving free oil to poor families in Philadelphia and New York City. The whole idea is that every country, once they have wealth like oil that we want, all of a sudden we got to give them democracy. What we did is we destroyed Venezuela's. Okay, baby, it's my granddaughter. We destroyed Venezuela's economy by sanctioning their oil. They can't sell their oil, froze their assets. What did we do? We emptied Venezuela out of 7 million Venezuelans. Now they're refugees in America. They're illegal aliens. We're chasing them around, and we're sending them to Guatemala. This is how fucking, excuse my language, how silly we are, how idiotic we are. Let them sell their oil. Let them do what they want, and you won't have no illegal immigrants in here because Venezuela has the #1 resource in the world of oil. It is #1. Let them sell their stuff. You understand? Our policies are, it's evil. What we do is evil to other countries because it's like mafia style. Either you share your wealth with a certain group of people, the oligarchy, and if not, we're going to call you a terrorist state. We're not going to let you sell your oil. The same thing happened to Iran. In 1979, the sun said was going to go. The Shah said, I'm not going to renew the contract with Britain. What they did, they overthrew him and put them all out. It's all about the oil since 1909. We are not driven by democracy. It is all lie. If we were driven by democracy and we want to spread it around the world, we had the Arab Spring. The Arabs came out. They overthrew all the deep states. They had the free elections. One by one, they were overthrown by the deep state while Obama watched and the American government watched. Because we don't really give a F about democracy. We only want to give democracy to Iraq. Why? Because they had oil. But we don't want to give it to Sudan. They're poor as fuck. So let's not lie. I hate this pretentious bullshit. I hate this pretentious bullshit that we are good doers. We are driven by economic interests and gang mentality of getting money out of it. Look what they did to Qatar. Tyler, 3 weeks ago, every news station said that Qatar was associated with terrorism. Every one of them. I told ChatGPT, could you give me 50 headlines from the newspaper? And they all did it. 3 weeks later, Israel sold them $100 million to $300 million worth of weapons. Everything is okay. It's all about getting money out of them. You understand? This is what it was all about.
Well, they do host Hamas and the Hamas leadership, but they said recently
it's not that. The United States
they kicked them out.
You think Qatar is going to do it on their own? That little piece of shit country is going to do it on their own. They have 11,000 servicemen inside their country, U.S. servicemen. Today, the biggest air base is in Qatar, and it feeds the American soldiers. It pays for the expenses, everything from A to Z. Name me one country that does that for the United States because they want them there to protect them. They're weak.
Oh, for sure, but they're state associated with Hamas.
Tyler,
They're playing balls. They want to be our friends. That's really what it comes down to.
They want to survive. Tyler, I mean, you keep on saying they have Hamas. It's not fair for you to do that all the time. I just told you why they have them there. They were told by the United States to have them there. They were told. They were ordered. They said, listen, we need you to hold these offices there for these so we could talk to them when we need to. You understand? They would never do it on their own. It's crazy to do it on your own. You're going to host a terrorist organization. At the same time, you have the biggest airbase inside Qatar. Does that make sense to you? Let's use common sense.
They kicked them out as soon as Trump took power.
They're still there. They're still there.
Well, they announced they were going to be kicking them out when Hamas took power. Yes, Steve Witkoff was negotiating directly with them, but they flat out said in the negotiation.
Qatar did the United States a favor. They played the middleman between the Taliban and the United States, and we get out of Afghanistan. There were negotiations through Qatar.
Well, I'm also looking right here that they were shielding them from Israel attacking them as well. So they were also protecting them from other nations.
Who were protecting?
Qatar. They were shielding Hamas leaders from being attacked by.
Well, hold on. They're just like Switzerland in that regard. They're just like they're playing the go-between. That also gives Qatar power. I'm not going to fault them. Like they're a small country. They're like Singapore. They're a trading nation. Like obviously you're going to play middleman in this situation. Like I don't blame them for doing that.
Tyler, I promise you that every office that was opened in Qatar was demanded by the United States or encouraged. Qatar will never do something like that.
Also, they're in bed with us. I mean, like I said, there's totally no reason why A&M's got a school over there with the big military president, Robert Gates, CIA head, taking over the presidency. Totally no coincidence. I mean,
Qatar aligns itself with the United States because it wants to survive. Remember when they had the Arab Gulf crisis? Because Bannon and Jared Kushner started it, and they isolated Qatar by itself, and they didn't give them no food, no nothing. Only Iran and Turkey was landing plane all day, bringing milk and food. Remember in 2000, and I think it was 17 or 2018, when they had the Persian Gulf crisis. You know why? Let me tell you why, Tyler. You could look it up. Jared Kushner bought a building called 666 on Fifth Avenue before in 2008, before the real estate market collapsed. So before Trump became president, his father, Kushner, went to Qatar to get a loan. They don't want to give him a loan. So what they did is, a payment of $1 billion was coming up. If not, they're going to lose the building. So what they did is they told Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Egypt to attack Qatar and take their oil. And they surrounded it, and they embargoed it, and they sanctioned it. Guess what happened? The sovereign wealth of Qatar rented Kushner's building, 666 on Fifth Avenue, for the next 99 years and paid it up front. And Qatar said, "Oh, we didn't know. Our sovereign wealth did it on their own, and we're upset." Look it up. I would never lie to you. Every time I talk.
Well, I'll give you one more connection that I just realized. The Bush Presidential Library, Bush Sr., Texas A&M. Guess what Bush Sr. did before he was president? CIA director. No coincidences here. Just saying. I can't.
Here we fucking go.
I'm just saying.
I love you, Gibbs.
It just, I'm not saying that there's anything there, but, a lot of things.
Yeah, you are. I see what you're laying down. I see what you're laying down.
I think it's a pretty clear picture. Go ahead, Tiberius. Also, go ahead, Tiberius, and then we're going to reframe it, because there is another portion of this conversation I want to have. So go ahead, Tiberius, and then I'm going to come back in and reframe it, and we're going to go somewhere else with this comment.
Sovereign nations, I agree with you. Iran is a sovereign nation. That's why they're upset at it.
All right, go ahead.
I got two questions. First one's to you, Gibbs. How long did you want this to go for?
We're going about another 20 minutes.
Okay, and then question to Omar is, what does Qatar lose by not being our friends? And you can extend this to anyone in the region. What are they losing by siding with Team USA?
What do you mean? They're protection. Very simple.
They're losing protection from who?
No. Qatar needs protection from the United States. They live in a
right.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. What I'm asking is, what do they lose? What is wrong with taking side Team USA for any of these people?
I didn't say there's nothing wrong with it. That's their prerogative. They could do whatever they want. It's their money. You guys are claiming they were sponsoring terrorism. I'm saying it's not. I mean, they're Team USA.
Okay, so and the reason I ask you this is because you've been consistently arguing it's like, well, they're doing it for survival, or they're doing it for this or that, which I agree with you, but it's like everyone in the region outside of Iran as a functioning government has figured out it's either be in front of the Americans or get your ass kicked. Right?
Exactly. See, answer your own question. They're not fully sovereign nation. They don't.
Well, so it's a rhetorical.
We don't want them to be.
No, they're not. That's what I'm saying. That's why they have an issue with Iran. The Persians are a proud people. They have the sovereign. They have the sovereignty, and they want to make their own decisions. You understand? This is
that's tough tits. I guess if they should win the war, then I guess that's the thing. Which brings me to my next part of this question. All right. So we're gonna make some predictions. If, for example, Iran loses the Ayatollah and then his son gets killed, we don't have a clear line of succession. It's like most of the top military brass goes down. There's a couple scenarios that have been proposed. The Taliban is already saying that they are going to lay claim to some of the areas in Iran. They're also talking about invading portions of these other countries nearby, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and maybe Uzbekistan. I'm not sure which. It's another one of the stands. And they're talking about invading all these and parts of Pakistan. Basically, we've turned Afghanistan into a regional power could be maybe a nuclear power if they get nukes from Pakistan, right? Here's the thing: what do we see happening with Iran if the leadership cast is taken out? Is it going to fall into chaos if they just like blow them up and then like pull back, take out all the military facilities? What's going to happen if the Ayatollah and his son and most of the top generals go down? It seems like there's already been civil unrest in Iran recently. Are we going to see a new government? Are we going to see it descend into chaos? Is the Taliban going to take over portions? What are we going to see here? What are we thinking?
Start.
Predictions. Yeah, go ahead. Start us off.
Okay, you have to understand that the Persians are a minority in their own country. The Persians are not the majority, by the way. And there are ethnic groups that are related to countries that are bordering, like Azerbaijan. West Azerbaijan is related to the Azerbaijan nation. So the whole idea is that, let's say the mullah theocracy collapse. I don't really care about that. I don't really even like that kind of government and that kind of idea. But we have to be careful, like what we're going to inherit. Do you want chaos? This is 90 million people. This is not Iraq. Iraq's like 20 million, and look what chaos happened, and how many militias came out, ISIS, all this craziness stuff. We have to be careful of what we do, because every time we do something else, we went to Afghanistan, we got Al-Qaeda. We went to Iraq, we got ISIS. We went to Yemen, we got the Houthis. You understand? So everything we do, it turns against us. So it is very dangerous. If they want to overthrow the mullahs, they have to do it very carefully and guarantee the sovereignty of Iran. They have to guarantee it, all Western nations, if they want a smooth transfer of power. If not, you're going to have chaos in that neighborhood. You got the Kurds, they want their own country. The Azerbaijans want, the Baluch want their own country. The Arab, where the oil is, they want their own country. You're going to have, it's like a wild Wild West for the next 50, 40 years. That's it.
All right. What do you think, Tiberius? What are your predictions here? And then we'll go to Tyler.
Short term, without the United States getting involved, because I'm 50-50 on this one. Because I just can't read Trump on this. I really can't figure out where he's going to go. But short term, Israel's going to keep bombing. I think the pace is going to slow down just because what they're doing is pretty fucking hard. I think the pace will slow down, but what we are going to see is not a full decapitation because, let's be real, there's enough of the mullahs within the country that even if you kill most of the upper echelons, there's plenty of people in the back bench that will take their place. So I don't think we're seeing regime change with just Israel alone. But we will see a Iran that is basically seizing up both politically, militarily, and economically because they're consistently getting bombed. And that's a win for the Israelis, right? Let's just say that the United States does show up. And we show up in force. We may keep this to an aerial campaign, and we literally just make it to where instead of boots on the ground and we treat this as Iraq 3.0, it's, oh, hey, we're just going to make it where nothing operates. If it's a power plant, if it's some kind of, like, any kind of major infrastructure, we'll probably bomb it. We'll just make it where this country is wiped off as a civilization. Yeah. That's very possible.
Yeah. You know what they're gonna do to your bases? They're gonna obliterate.
What are they gonna do to the bases?
Oh, you have all the
like
bases. Iran has missiles.
Iran can't do shit to the United States.
To the bases, we have soldiers in the regions.
Yeah, of course, but like the level of ass beating that we whooped out on Iraq, both in '91 and in 2003. Would be child's play compared to what we would do to Iran now. Like $800 billion.
They're not gonna do shit.
Huh?
Iran doesn't have a fucking air defense system
anymore. I haven't won a war since World War II. Go to sleep, all right? Don't stop acting up, man.
What was 1991? We literally destroyed the Iraqi army in 92 hours.
About 40 countries with us, the whole world with us there, and Western Europe and everybody to beat up on an army that has no real weapons and no real air force and no real missiles.
10 years.
Iraq was the fourth.
It was a well-equipped, well-experienced battle force.
You won the war in 1991. You got them out of quick. You didn't win, but you lost in 2002. You took a beating in Fallujah all over the place. You had to give money.
What is the KD ratio?
It was ridiculous. Like, yeah, we have systematically whipped Iraq's ass multiple times.
In Afghanistan, we fought for 20 years to get rid of the Taliban, only to give Afghanistan back to the Taliban with weapons and airports. and
Why did that
airplanes
happen?
and tanks.
Yeah, why did that happen?
Because we lost.
Because the
war.
Afghanis wanted the Taliban.
Yeah,
we
but
didn't
lost-
play.
we
Well,
lost
that
20
the American
years-
public
20
wouldn't have the
years
stomach
of
for it.
war against
Well, hell yeah,
Afghanistan. There was NATO. NATO was involved. The United States was involved against guys who walking around in slippers. Imagine if they had Nike shoes and they would have been in New York if they had Nikes and shoes like everybody else.
Hold on.
I'm just
Look,
making-
I don't know about all that.
this is the part where I think you'll even get on board with me, right? The reason that we lost Afghanistan is straightforward. We were trying to give people what they didn't fucking want.
Yeah.
If we had literally done that and we just said, "Hey, look, Afghanistan, it's not a thing anymore. These tribal villages up here can go there, do their own thing, and these people can do their own thing," we could have left in 3 fucking years.
You didn't have
Right?
To go, you didn't even have to go in. We could have killed what's his name? Osama and his group. So we have the best what's it called? Six a team. What's that? You just said it before. Commandos.
Team 6.
We could have got all of them without going. We didn't need to go there. We could have just killed them. With special operations. We don't have to spend all these trillions of dollars and all these. people
Well,
got killed.
Yeah, we had to go. We had to go get Iraq's oil first, though. That was the
It's
thing.
coulda, woulda, shoulda. The reality is that level of experience and expertise we can now throw at Iran. But here, the only question I have
Let me tell you
on
something.
if we actually should is straight up this: are we going to act like we learned anything from 20 years in the sandbox?
Stay out
Because
of
if
the
we want to just if we want to swipe the board clean, and you actually were talking, like Empowered Man was actually talking about this, right? Or is that we can literally just go, "Hey, Azerbaijan, if you want all of your ethnic kin back, here you go. Have it back. Hey, Arabs, if you guys want Khuzestan back, guess what? It's now independent. If we want to go to the Balochis, we can do that as well. Like, we can tear apart Iran without actually dismantling their own government.
Yeah, but we're not in the business of tearing apart countries. The whole idea is that we could do something better. We could stop the war. Tell Israel to shut the fuck, to sit it down, negotiate. We already had a negotiation. They had a deal. The deal was the same thing as Obama did. They don't reach past 3.67% of uranium, whatever it's called. And Witkoff said it's okay. Trump said it's okay. Netanyahu said, no, you don't do that. I'm the fucking boss around here. What did you say? We have to dismantle everything they have. You don't tell another country. That's their pride. This is their sovereign nation.
You do. If that country is saying we will kill these people, that your country, and whether they actually are going to get nukes today or in a year, it's like, no, you are morally bound to whip their fucking ass.
They had a deal that the United States could inspect anytime they wanted to. They just wanted to lift up the sanctions. What all Iran wants to do is to sell their oil and start making money and live a normal life. They don't even want, even the director of national security on March, what's her name? Tulsi Gabbard said, Iran hasn't started making a weapon since 2003. We are liars.
We believe that.
They have no weapons. Anyway, even if Iran, let's say, they had 60% of the uranium, whatever it's called, you know how hard it is to get a missile and to get the delivery system? This is a very, very delicate thing to do.
They can totally do it.
You know what?
Like this is 1950s technology.
If they had it, Netanyahu would not be acting the way. I'm telling you, the best way to do it is just stop everybody, stop the war. You don't need to destroy. Iran is a proud nation, is a proud Persian nation, is a nation with a rich history. We could make things.
They're gonna need a new government.
Yeah, we're gonna say we don't even have to do it. We just say, listen, okay, so okay, this has already happened. Let's stop it. Okay. We're gonna take all the stuff the uranium you already had, over 60%. We gotta take it. We'll have a third nation like Russia provide you with the stuff that you need to fuel your reactors, and everybody goes home, and that's it. You know what Israel wants? They don't want even to have missiles. They want to destroy their missile technology. This is the fucking crazy shit I ever heard, that a nation cannot have weapons to protect itself. That's like me, Gibbs, like saying, Omar, listen, I hate you and you hate me, but you can't have guns in your house. Because when I want to act up and come here and kill your cows, it's okay because I could do it, because you only got a stick. This is weird.
This isn't a stick versus a stick. This is a gun versus a gun. The reality here is that both of these neighbors don't like each other. They've been openly saying each other. They're going to take... Okay, they're not next door neighbors. Like Iran's down the block, right? But in a manner of...
Long place.
Yeah, it is a law in place. I was talking about it earlier, right? Is that like they're flying these sorties? It's not real. It's not an easy feat. What it comes down to is that these guys don't like each other. They are literally willing to take shots at each other, break into one another's homes if they can, and literally bomb each other.
Tiberius, they tell them to surrender their missile technology. Would you do that?
If I was Iran, no, I would not.
Thank you.
If I was Israel, hold on a second.
Would you do it if I was gonna? If like the U.S. was like, you're gonna get bombed until you do it, and we can do it, and then we put a like letter underneath your house door as the Ayatollah and said, "Hey, I know which bedroom is yours, and it's gonna have a bomb tomorrow. If you don't say yes, would you do it then?"
If I'll put it this way, to answer Gibbs for Gibbs hypothetical, would I do it? For me personally, yes. Do I expect them to do it? No. Because you know what? Omar's actually right. The Persians are a very proud people, and they kind of have some right to. They have some right to be. When it comes down to it, though, is that I don't feel like any of what has happened is unexpected, right? Whenever Syria,
unbelievable rich history, unbelievable.
Oh, dude, Khosrow is fucking cool as hell, right?
The Persian ruled from Jerusalem to Egypt all over for 1,000 years. They ruled. This is not no fucking bullshit people.
Let's
go to like 300, but
I know we're running out of time here. Let me go to Tyler. I know he's been trying to get in, and then Tyler's gonna go.
His girlfriend is going like, "I want to kill you if you don't."
Well, not only that. I mean, I have other things I want to do tonight as well. We're gonna do some sloshing after this, but I'm gonna go to Tyler, and I'm gonna let him go. Don't interrupt him. Let him say, and then we're gonna do closings. Yeah, and then we'll go to closings, and we'll get out of here. So go ahead, Tyler.
So, yeah, I just wanted to answer the question real quick. You were saying if Iran's leadership topples. First of all, I think that's a very unlikely event. Israel has said they're going to defy the United States orders to keep attacking them, but there's a 2-week pause right now, and I think that 2-week pause is an indication that we're going to allow some sort of dignified off-ramp for Iran. Their air defenses are completely destroyed. What we're going to do right now is kind of a way for them to save face where the Ayatollah can remain and we'll move forward, but essentially they will be conceding. Israel's kind of got them on the ropes in a lot of ways. Their since October, their air defenses have been wiped out. Their docks have been wiped out. Right now, they only have small snippets of airspace that are not under Israeli or U.S. control. The U.S., as he was saying earlier, the U.S. has 200 air refueling planes right now in the Middle East aiding Israel. Yep. So they are vastly outnumbering them in air superiority. So in that unlikely event that this is not an off-ramp and they actually take them out, the power vacuum is what worries me. I just think Iran is not one of the other nations. They're not Libya. They're not going to collapse. They're not Egypt. They're not going to elect somebody that's even more extreme and then have a military coup after. I think they're much more civilized of a nation than people give them credit for. I've seen a lot of the polling about how they don't like the regime in power, but not during wartime. In wartime, they all rally around the flag. I think we see them just hold another election. And I think that if they can get somebody in that it fits the moderate role, Trump has already offered them an on-ramp to the Abraham Accords. So they just have to play ball in that way that we could potentially see something better come out of it. But the power vacuum threat to me is too great to even want that. If it happens, I'm more hopeful than I would be for Libya. But I don't like it.
Okay.
This real quick then. Why do you think that? Like, I almost see them being disabled. If I see them go, I really do kind of see them going down and like it going into like I don't know about chaos, but like there's no way that they don't have a military left, right? Or like they only have the army with no leadership and no supreme leader. It seems pretty easy for me to like believe the Taliban was already planning to fucking start like a world war or a regional war with 4 other countries. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't see them having a problem. The Taliban not trying to take over portions, especially if it's Iran's in chaos. I even could see them doing it now with Iran and the state it is, right? And if that happens, like, yeah, they rally around the flag. But at the same time, if all the leadership's gone and you only have like, mid-tier officers left, that seems like a recipe for warlordism to me. I don't know, especially when you already have like a lot of these Iranian Revolutionary Guard guys are experts in like guerrilla warfare. That's kind of what they've been training these guys to do for the last like 20 years with, working with Syria, but they might not always know what works, but they're very experienced, right? And like, I feel like that would turn into like kind of a warlord situation. And without like like the actual government backing, it might be best. And I know this is going to make people happy. Best long term for the U.S. if there isn't a power there, right? Like you just took out one of the dominant poles, it's collapsed, and now you're going to have a rise of Saudi Arabia. I know Tiberius don't like them, but they're a U.S. ally. Israel would be a U.S. ally. India's getting closer in bed with us. I mean, in India just had China and Russia back to Pakistan. I mean, suddenly Iran's gone. I mean, and that maybe they could team up with the Taliban. So I can even see in 15 years suddenly the Taliban's our ally against some of these fuckers because they hate Russia. Wouldn't that be something in 20 years? We're teaming up with the Taliban to fight Russia and China. Like I could easily see some shit like that happening if Iran.
We did in the
down.
80s.
I mean, like it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you all that it would be a good thing or a worse thing if the government stays in power. I think it might be a worse thing for them to stay in power, or maybe not for them, but for us, or a better thing if it goes into chaos for us. Like I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I want to hit you on this.
Yeah,
I think
go ahead. Get a closing in, Tiberius.
Yeah, I think this is a 50-50 shot. I'm really on edge on whether I think the United States should actually like full send on this one. Because on one hand, and me and Gibbs have had this conversation before, and like I don't think we've squared the circle here, but we've raised a good point, is that if you don't kick these people over when you have the opportunity, what do you get? Well, you get North Korea. Somebody who's consistently being a pain in the fucking balls and just refuses to fucking die, right? Yeah. We don't want that. So if this is where Iran's at its weakest and we can effectively get regime change on the cheap, do we want to try it? Potentially, yes. Can we fuck it up? Yes. This is the part where I'm concerned, and Tyler's kind of hitting a point here. If we fuck this up to where we just basically leave Iran in a civil war, this will not go well for us because it didn't go well for us in Iraq. What we need to do is we need to, at some level, and granted, I don't want boots on the ground here unless it's a very light tap, is that we need to empower the peoples who are the dissidents within Iran to assert their independence. The Azerbaijani will absolutely rejoin their motherland. The Arabs absolutely do not want to be part of the Persian Empire. Like you can literally
the Kurds would rejoin.
The Kurds would love to have an independent state because they've never had one. I say break the bitch. Don't fucking kill it. Just break it. Shatter it like it's a goddamn porcelain plate.
I'll let you go next, Noah. Go ahead.
Me, right?
And tell everybody where to find y'all, by the way.
Okay.
I don't really stream this shit. Like people just enjoy it every now and again. But I'm Tiberius D. I talk geopolitics, and I appreciate Gibbs having me on. I'm actually surprised I haven't gotten more invites because it's a fun topic, but it's a pretty straightforward one. Anyway, thank you guys.
Okay. Can I do my closing? First of all,
please.
I'd like to thank Tiberius, and I'd like to thank Tyler for his patience. And I want to thank you, Gibbs, for having me back on and breaking the blacklist that they had me on. First of all, the element of surprise has been gone. Israel had the first couple of days where they killed all those generals, those leaders, and those. It's all over now. Now the whole idea is, can Israel maintain an air war for a long time? Israel cannot afford a long war. Israel is used to lightning wars, fast 10-day wars, 6-day wars, 7 days war. The issue with breaking down Iran, you can have a lot of issues. The Kurds cannot have their own state because then Iraq has to give them their own state. Then Turkey has to give them their own state. Then you're gonna have a whole problem in that area. Israel, if you want to get rid of the theocracy, you could get rid of it, but guarantee the maintenance of Iran's sovereignty as a full nation without breaking anything away, because you want to create a bitter memory for them. And I want to make this on the record. I really don't like the theocracy in Iran. I'm just defending Iran out of fairness of what's going on. I don't like theocracies. I don't like religious countries. I'd rather have it here like the United States. That's it about it. Let's just hope for peace, and let's hope for Israel's destruction, hopefully. Okay?
Oh, all right. Thank you so much. And Tyler, last but not least.
Okay.
Average Debate Enjoyer, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Fansly.
Anyway,
jokes, haha.
Just jokes.
Tyler. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've as we all know, you guys all watch these, nothing matches my intellect besides my empathy. As we can see here, I could see where he was coming from, even though I disagreed on a lot of the choices made in the conclusions. I got the steps leading up to it, came in with that. But at the end of the day, though, I side with the people that are closest to what a Western democracy is and with Western liberal values. And at the end of the day, only one person doesn't kill their gays, or force them to convert. So, just things of that nature.
Long live the gays. Okay.
I'm at the end of the day, I don't fit the classic left wing in the U.S., but I am still left wing just because I don't like, the teas and all the stupid shit they've been doing over the last few years.
To be a left.
I'm a Clinton Democrat, so
that's
kind of the.
And where can they find you, Tyler?
Average Debate Enjoyer, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and the other one I mentioned that I'm not going to make that joke again. So
good. Yeah, good.
Hit me up, I do.
Why, he's on
naughty
OnlyFans for real? He's on OnlyFans for real?
No,
it's a joke. It's a joke.
You can't say that in here anyway.
Yeah, it's a joke. But
No.
Yeah, it's a joke. Yeah, it's fine. But hey, I that was the show today. Thanks everybody for coming. I do want to ask you a quick question, Tiberius, before you go. What? So you don't think that the destabilization of Iraq was a long-term good thing for the U.S. because it looks like Syria fell because of that. Iraq is not really power anymore. Iran seems to be long-term weakened. Lebanon and Hezbollah seem weakened. I feel like it worked out perfectly now that I'm looking at it.
It's kind of okay. Iraq is kind of coming full circle, right? But there's a level where before Trump really put the screws to Iran, is that Iraq was effectively a client state of Iran. And it was scaring the hell out of me because it's like Iran was doing better and Iraq was effectively being bolted on the situation where it's like, oh great, we've got a Middle Eastern power block emerging that we're going to have to deal with. Well, Trump largely took care of that. So on one hand, you have a point. On another hand is that I don't like